It's Monday night and we're singing again. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy Monday. Here we are again. And we're just like going along with the music. It's kind of
Yes,
a
we
catchy
do. We
tune.
do.
It really is. Hey, everybody. I am Nancy, Ambient Girl Diggs, and I am here tonight with Hollywood. That way.
Go!
Hollywood. Joe Copperheads. And we have a full night ahead of us here. We are going to be bringing Wayne on in a moment just to kick off the show and get this going. I'm looking at everybody in the chat. We're going to do things just a little bit differently. We're just
Yeah.
going to say hi, everybody.
Everybody.
We really appreciate you being here. I see you. We're not doing individual shout outs tonight because we have a lot that we want to cover. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here. We see you. Lots of loves and hugs to everybody. And especially to my mods tonight. Thank you. Keep an eye out for those trolls. So, Joe, why don't we bring Wayne along?
Yeah, Wayno, come on in and join us, buddy.
I gave Joe some powers. Let's see if he can do it.
Yeah.
Joe's got the magic dangerous
touch. Giving Joe power, that's dangerous.
I know.
Joe you guys Thanks
Joe
for having
is
me.
an official co-host.
Oh, wow.
You got promoted.
Big time. Wow, look at the promotions. Love it. Hey, guys, I want to first thank you. Shout out to Nancy and Joe giving me this opportunity. Shout out to all of you out there for taking the time and coming in and listening to this discussion talk. I have been so pumped for this. You have no idea. I'll apologize in advance. I might be a little nasal because I've got some cold going on there, but took the day off today so I could rest my voice. So here we go. Let's do this. Nancy, you want to bring up that PowerPoint?
I will. That sounds awesome. All right, guys. So I am going to, oops, it's coming up. All right. So I've got to touch things, with me with the magic buttons here. We've got this. I hope everybody can see our PowerPoint presentation. I'm just popped over on the other side to have a quick look and we can see it.
This is going to be a team thing because Nancy, I'm at your mercy. You're controlling my PowerPoint for me, so I'll give you the
I am. Fingers crossed that I do this.
You're great. We did a dry run and you were great. So let's do this. Let me explain a little bit of what's going on here. This term, consulting detectors, that was a new term. And they say fate or coincidence. This all happened, all right, within the last couple of weeks. It's really, really quick. I've been detecting, and if you go to the next slide. There you go. I've been detecting now, as it says here, I've been over 35 years. I actually figured it out today. It was like 37 years. But the thing is, it hasn't been just detecting. It's been all these other things. Everyone has all these different hobbies, things we love. Photography, doing photography seriously. Scouts was a good part of my life. Doing that with the kids. Photography, fishing, huge part of my life. And then it seems to come full circle, There's never enough time in the day. And that's what I think a lot of you guys can relate to. So that's what gave me some thought about, okay, where I am right now in my whole career detecting is that, I've had a lot of fun with it. I've enjoyed more than anything the friendships I made. But it's also like a feeling right now in my life to like pay back. And a few things happened in the last year that made me think, how can I pay back the community, the detecting community, the people with the same passion that I have for detecting? What can I do for them? And that's when I came up with this idea that I would start something on YouTube. And it was actually Joe gave me the idea, started a group, and then teach people what I've learned over the years. And first of all, I don't profess to be the greatest ever detectorist ever. No way. I've never won that Detectorist of the Year with the clubs or anything like that. And there's far better detectorists than I am. I've had my share of finds, but I can't hold a candle to some of the guys I'm going to talk about today. So this isn't highlighting my stuff. I'm not bragging about my stuff. I have nothing really to brag about. But I do have something I can share, and that's knowledge that I've gained from others, knowledge that I've gained from myself. And when it all came back to is that time theme. There's really not enough time, like time in the day. If you're like me, you try to get an hour in after work. You count on the days with the longer sunlight. You look for those longer days of summer. You can stay out a little bit later. Or maybe you count on the weekends and you're hoping that you get all your honeydews done and you can have that time available.
Sounds like me.
So, that's where I was coming from. So I set up this site, and I was going to teach people stuff. And I actually did a pilot project actually a few months ago with my own club. And I showed them one of my clubs, and I showed them, some of the stuff I was doing. And what was amazing to me was like, they hadn't heard some of this stuff before. And these are guys that have been detecting as long as I have, and even longer in some cases, and a lot of new people. And I got a really positive response to that. And I said, okay, how can I broaden that? So I'm actually doing a similar presentation a couple months to my other club, and hoping to see if I can share that with them. But then when I put up this YouTube group, I got a lot of angry people. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to make anyone angry here. I was trying to help people. I'm not trying to make people angry, because I have secrets that people use and they don't tell anybody about. And the idea is, it's like a magician, like you get your trick, but you don't want to show people how you did the trick. It takes away from the trick. Well, I've learned, and I can't say I'm not a master of these things, but I've learned a lot. And I've learned from some really, really good people. And one of them had an impact on me to the point where he said, Wayne, I taught you this stuff, this one aspect. And if other people know that, then I don't want people coming in my backyard, taking my sites that I spent hours and hours and hours researching and finding, to have them just given away by someone that, thinks is a quick fix. And I respected that. So it was like the next day I took that site down. It never even was published. I had maybe two group members. It was my family. And they were excited for me. So I just had to sit back for a while. And I sat back and I thought, okay, I can't teach people all this legitimately and not hurt some people's feelings out there. So what could I do? So I started doing a search on the internet. What's out there? What's being done on YouTube? What's being done in these other places? And I noticed that nobody was offering a service, at least to my knowledge. And if you know someone out there, I'd love to hear about it. But no one was really offering a research service to do the work for you, save you the time, do the research, find your sites, and then give them to you. And the amount of hours that I spend is less than minimum wage what I'm charging to do this service. And it has like this guarantee with it that if I can't find you something, I'll give you your money back, because this is to help you. It's not to take advantage of you. If I can't find you a site based on, information I get from you, then yeah, get it back. But once I find you a site, and I give you the GPS coordinates for that site, then my idea is that, okay, I provided you with it. Now it's on you. I can't find the treasure for you. That's the fun part. That's the exciting part of it, to go out and find this stuff. But if I can narrow down your choices, I see people and they've got these permissions, awesome permissions. Like you'd go crazy to have like a 300-acre farm. And that's awesome. But, you got a 300-acre farm. It could take the rest of your life to cover that farm. But if I can narrow if I can narrow that farm down for you to like a 1-acre parcel, 1 acre that's going to be productive, that means the time that you're going to spend there is going to be more enjoyable. Your rewards are going to be that much greater. And I can tell you that if you're in different clubs or you've seen people and they're killing it, and you ask, why is this person doing so well? I can almost guarantee you that some of the things that I'm going to be showing you, they do or they use. And that's what I'm here to show you. So at first, I'm going to show you some slides, and I'm going to show you what has been achieved using these techniques, just to sell you on the concept that they work. And then I'm going to show you a sampling of some of the things that I use, and this is what I would use for you. So, Nancy, let's start. Let's get going.
Let's start. And I also heard too something about, as we go along, there might be a giveaway towards it.
Oh yeah, for those of you that took your time out of your day and you're willing to sit through this for the very end, I talked to Nancy, and she said that there's a way, I guess, in this product that she can do a random giveaway. And for someone that's out there, if you stick around and you get picked in this giveaway, I will do a free service for you. In other words, you give me a site and I'll find you a location. That's a service I normally would charge for. And it's like, I'm just going to do it for you as a trial. All I ask for you is if you could just give me a testimonial at the end, if it worked for you. And I'm hoping to be successful with that. And I hope that you enjoy it as well and you get something from it. So it's a sample, because I'm at a point now, I started getting testimonials and people are like, oh my God, Wayne, you gotta do something with this. This is like incredible. So I'm at a point now where I want to just show that to other people and share that with other people. And the other giveaway is I have a nickname, the Pirate. And there's a lot of things that go with that. I could spend a lot of time talking about the Pirate. It started with our club president, who always busts my chops. And he's like a brother to me. He's like one of the best guys I know. We're one of the greatest detectorists I know. And he started calling me the Pirate because for our club hunts, I wanted to do something different. And if you guys are members of clubs, you have your group hunts and your annual hunts. Well, I created what was called the Pirate Hunt. So what I did was I went out, and I'm the hunt master for these clubs. So what I did was I set up a beach and I buried pirate chests. All right, actually pirate chests with little tokens in them, and each of those tokens were worth, special prizes. So where could you go and dig up a pirate chest? I had like 18 chests out there. It was crazy. And then I bought a couple hundred pirate cobs, the pieces of 8. They're artificial, of course, but they looked real, and they were heavy as hell. They rang up super good, and it was so funny because if you found one of those cobs, you could turn it in for a prize, and the prize was like a silver dime. I had people at the end tell me, "Wayne, can I just keep the cob? I don't care about the silver dime. I just think this is like a cool thing." So I said, "No problem. You want to keep the cob? They look pretty cool. Keep it, no problem." So I think people had a good time. I think they really got a good time. So I offered it again for my other club, and they took it to another level. There was a guy in the club, and he's a humble guy. He doesn't want to have his name mentioned, but I'll just tell you, this guy gave me at least several $100s worth of prizes, things to put in the ground, things to give away. So that club hunt went to another level totally with the prizes that were out there. And then that club, they actually got into dressing up. So we were dressed up there on the beach as pirates. I bought pirate flags.
What a sight to see.
I've got photos, and I'll post the photos on my Facebook group if anyone wants to see them. So that pirate thing really kind of like stuck with me. And I wear a pirate bracelet. All right. It's like one of the things that I make. I'm into like paracords. You guys in like survival bracelets, they were bigger for a time. And when I was in Scouts, I was teaching the Scouts how to make survival bracelets out of a paracord. But then I saw this, like I was in Michael's one day and I saw these like little skulls. I said, "Oh, that's so cool. I got to make a bracelet out of it." So I made a bracelet. And then I started, people started and said, "Where'd you get that?" I said, "I made it." "Oh, can you make me one?" "Oh, yeah, sure, I'll make it." So I started making them. And then before you know it, I have pirate bracelets like everywhere. So I told Nancy, if anybody wants one, I'll give you one.
Cool.
I'll give it to you at the end of the meeting. I gave our club president one at the end of the other hunt because she was the best dressed pirate. We had a contest who was the best dressed pirate, and she like killed it. She looked like Johnny Depp in disguise. So we gave her one of the bracelets, and I know she was wearing it at the last meeting, so that made me feel really good that she actually wore it. So yeah, one of these bracelets I'll give out. All you have to do is I'll make it custom for you, so it'll be fitting your wrist. So we'll work out like the size of your wrist. We'll figure all that out, and I'll make you one special. I'll even put, if you want, these crystallized, the Swarovski crystals. I got those little red crystals that glow in the eyes.
That's so cool.
Like
well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And since I'm already trigger happy, let's start this slide.
Yeah, thank you. So this is what I was introducing before. A friend of mine who taught me some of these things, not everything. He taught me a big one. It's that famous L word. Joe cautioned me, don't use the LiDAR word. He said, people are going to get really upset if you start talking that. So I didn't say that, okay? But I'm not going to teach you how to do LiDAR today, but I'm going to show you the results of doing it, okay? And this is one of my tools. But the thing is, it's only a tool, and I'll get into that in the next slide. But disclaimer, good thing to add right here. People know that some of the advanced techniques I'm going to show you. People know these techniques. I'm not telling you anything that's not been out there for a while, but some of them have been less popularized. And in fact, when I did like a search on YouTube, I was looking for people when I first learned about this to teach me. And I noticed there was like nobody offering it. And so I was like, okay. The only people that were doing anything with trying to teach people was over across the sea in England. They were posting a few videos, but they weren't really relevant to us here. So they gave me some ideas, but there was really nothing there. But don't worry. If you guys are using the L stuff, or gals, if you're using the L stuff, I promise not to give away your secrets. My business is to provide the research using that technique if it's available, as long as everything else that I'm using to try to make your success a real deal. So that's what's going on, all right? But it is up to you to find this stuff. I can only give you, the guide or the path. And what I came up with, and it's kind of corny, but I'm corny. I used a treasure map. I made a treasure map, like an old parchment paper treasure map. And what I'll do is I'll give you the map with the GPS coordinates to where I suggest you hunt, because it'll be like an adventure. All right. And I love adventures. And that's the other pirate thing with me. So I often do like these mystery hunts with my club. I'll tell them, okay, we're going to go on this Sunday. We're going to meet. We're going to go. They ask me where. Well, I don't release it until like the day before. Just I want no one to night hawk it. I don't want anyone going there before. But then we go on this like mystery ride. And it's like so fun because you go into some place you're not really sure. And if I give you a coordinates, and it happens to be like in New England, we have a lot of cellar holes. So if I give you a coordinates and you get there and you find the cellar hole, that if you look at Google Maps or Google World, Google Earth, and all you see is trees, it's going to be like the most amazing feeling in the world to stand there and see the cellar hole in front of you, and just like maybe no one stood here for like a couple hundred years, and you're like the first person in a couple hundred years. I can't begin to tell you the feeling that goes with that. It's just like crazy. So anyway, my job is to save you time so you can go have that fun. All right, that's what I'm doing.
I like that.
So I call it a game changer. And some of these are like little GIFs, and they're not animated here, and I apologize. But this guy I think he's Saturday Night Live. He's just like getting excited about the game changer. He heard me talking. He got really excited. No, I'm just kidding. But the basis of my services are, again, the underlying theme is to save you money because time flies. And, no one's ever going to get any younger. We're getting older. And let's just do what we can with the time that we have. Make the most of that time. So let's go. Next slide.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, people are into different things.
Gorgeous photo.
Oh, my God. I wish I could say these were mine.
Little drool.
Assorted colonial bookos. These are the beauties of craftsmanship and design. I just love these. These are all from one guy. Over the 30 years he's been doing this, he's collected some really wonderful stuff. And, these are just some examples of what he's found. All right. It's just crazy. Next slide.
Boom. I need to go a little bit quick. There we go.
No worries. This is.
I only have a few of those.
The other day, he said to me, I just had to open my drawer and kind of like sort these a little bit. I never counted them. So he counted. He had over 400 coppers that he's collected over the years. Again, these are stuff that he's pulled out using the same kind of research stuff that I'm going to talk to you about. So just to give you a sample, all right? Again, probably hundreds and hundreds of buttons, assorted colonial, flat buttons, dandy buttons. And buttons are my favorite. Like people go after like the reals and the silver and the coppers. And don't trust me, I would never turn one down. But if you give me a button any day, I'd love it. A buddy of mine, actually today, he was so excited. He's in Maryland. I just showed him some of this stuff a few weeks ago. We just became friends over Facebook. And he was using some of these techniques. He found a hole today that he brought his buddy to. And he texted me. He was so excited. He had pulled up one of these buttons. He knew I liked buttons. And he showed me this picture. It was like a beauty. It was a classic button. So, yeah, show me a button. Give me a button any day. And there's a lot of really cool history with these buttons if you look at it. I'll talk a little bit more about buttons a little bit later. But I love buttons. And I'm no expert at them. I have to research it. But one of the things I do offer, just to mention, is that if you find something, I'm like really cool about trying to figure out where it came from and ID stuff. So whether it's a button or anything, like relic, something you find. There used to be a Western Eastern magazine. They used to have like this Ask Mr. Parker or Ask Parker like finds, and it kind of got out of that. But I used to thrive on that. I used to love that. And I know there's sites on the internet that are devoted just to ID. I get that. And I love those sites too. But I'll offer that. That's something like you find something, show me. I'll do my best to find it. I can't promise you I'll know what it is, but I probably know somebody that might know, or we'll figure it out. That's fun.
I've got a button here that I need some help with. So
there we go.
I'm going to be hitting you up for that.
Well, I like buttons too because they can help date a site. So like if you're finding a site and you go to a hole and you find a certain types of button, you can kind of get an idea of how old that site is. And that gives you a good perspective because these sites don't have a label on them like the houses do, like, circa 1700. It doesn't tell you anything. So you got to kind of figure that out by looking at the buttons. And this is a guide. It's available on the internet. Many of you have it probably in your arsenal of identification stuff, but it's a great dating tool. I absolutely love this. I've used it a lot. There's a whole button book. I actually don't have a copy. It's really expensive. I just lost the name of the book on the top of my head. If you guys are into buttons, you'll know it. It's a guy who put this button book together that has like every button known to man on it. It's just like incredible. It's incredibly expensive, but if you're really into buttons, that's the book for you. For me, I just still use the internet searching. Military buttons always have a special place in my heart. Because there's some history and story behind those buttons, soldiers and stuff and fighting and all that. So it's really special to me. When I find those, it's really kind of cool. And actually, shout out to Joe. I got my first Civil War button because of Joe. Joe brought me to a Boy Scout camp, of all places, a Boy Scout camp under the pine trees. I'll show you the shot later. Under the pine trees, didn't expect it. Got a button. Didn't even know what it was at the time. I just knew it was a button. It had some nice design on it. I said, oh, this is cool. That was the best find I had. Joe had silver and the other guy had silver, but I got a button. I was thrilled. But later on, when I brought it, and I'm going to show you this guy later, I showed it to Seth. He's like the most knowledgeable guy about finds I've ever met. And I said, Seth, what do you think? He says, oh, that's military. he just looked at it. He said, military. And he said, probably Civil War. So then I looked it up, and there it was. It was a Civil War button. And it's like, what's that doing in Connecticut? It didn't really belong here in terms of normal. I mean, we participated, but there were no battles. And what was it doing in the middle of a Boy Scout camp? Crazy stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what was there before.
Yeah, we found
the famous button that everyone wants to find.
Yeah, the Washington buttons, the GWs. I mean, that's pretty much on everyone's bucket list. I actually think I found one time. But I think it was maybe wishful thinking. If you look at the one on the left side, the one that has like the eagle with the shield, I found one that I imagine, and it's just my imagination, that there's an eagle on that button. It is so toasted that I've shown it to other people. And they're like, Wayne, you're hallucinating. There is nothing like this. But I really wanted this to be a George Washington because it came from an area that I know produces them. So it was just like, oh God, I wish it was. But so it's still on my bucket list. But I got a story to tell you. Next slide. This one on the left, my buddy, and he doesn't want to be named. He's a pretty humble guy. He doesn't want his name out there. He found this. He actually found two of them. The day he found it, he knew what he had. He knew the GW on it. It looks pretty toasted here, right? But he got $10,000 offer for it the first day that he posted it on Facebook. He posted the find. There's three, what he told me the story was there's 3 Revolutionary War collectors out there. And what they did was they recognized it right away as a rare button that I think there's only like 6 of them known to exist. He has 2 of them. Now, I'm sure there's still some buried out there somewhere, but he pulled up this, and I actually did the research on this, and I pulled this up for him, and that button matched his. And what's different about this button with the George Washington, you can see it better on the one on the right, but you can see it on his, is that there's a little hat. You see that like little hat on top of the GW? That little hat is what makes it a cap. And that's what gives this button special because this is like handmade, hand designed. And that's why there's so few of them that have survived. This one that's in the picture, if you look at I know it's a busy text, but if you look at just the middle, publicly offered, sold recently in excess of $37,000. So it was kind of
amazing.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But I got to tell you this story. It's funny. When I go detecting with my crew, and these are like, I use the crew because of the pirate thing, right? But my team or my group, okay, my buds. When I go, they know I like buttons, and most of them could care less about buttons. They're really, just looking for coin, and I get it. I respect that. So they would give me the buttons, and I would have I get some really great buttons, And then I showed them this side. I talked to them about this. They stopped giving me buttons. I was like, okay.
Well, that's the thing. They're probably going through their old buttons now to see if they have anything similar to that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I got so many stories I can tell you. Next slide. All right, so this is another guy. If you look at, this is not the same person. This is someone else. And this person has, oh my God, conservatively, $500,000 worth of finds in his basement, in his man cave. He's got an unbelievable amount. If you look at the detector coils there, that was actually the reason I met him, because I had bought a White's machine, a DFX, and I wanted to get some new coils. So my buddy, my good friend, said, Wayne, I know this guy. He's got some coils for sale. He doesn't want them, and he'll give you a good price. So I said, okay, let's go. So we went to meet the guy. And then we started talking to detecting, like, when you get together, everyone talks detecting, right? So we started talking to detecting. He says, I got some stuff in my cellar. I got some stuff in my cellar. Okay. We went down, right? 2 hours later, I walked away from there stunned, absolutely stunned, because I was in a detector museum. This guy could have actually had a fine museum. It was just unbelievable. And while I was down there, I said, would you mind if I just took some pictures? Because if I leave here, no one's ever going to believe me what you have. And he was like, sure, no
That's
problem.
amazing.
Because it's only him and his wife. That's and he has this. And when he has the opportunity, he likes to have people come and show. But he doesn't brag. This guy is like so humble. He doesn't brag about what he's got. He's just got it.
Oh, you brag for him.
Hey, I would. Seeing this, that's like if you went to Audra's house. Audra's is a walking museum.
Well, what happened was, like, I had these pictures, right? And I wanted to put them here to show you all because I want to share what he has, because it's a shame that it's just sitting there not being shown by other people. So I wanted to share what he had. So I called him, though, because I said, I want to use your pictures that I took away at your house. Are you okay with that? Because I won't give your name. I promise. I won't give your location. So you're not going to have anybody knocking on your door to go see the museum or anything like that. And he was like so honored. He was like, yeah, thanks. I didn't even think to do that, but that would be awesome. Thank you. So, he's got the makings of a book with his stories and his finds. But what he does in the winter is he takes all of his silver coins that he finds and he puts them in a book like this. And he's got several of these laying around his room. But last year, he beat his top record for the year. He surpassed it. He ended up with 189 silvers last year. Now, I don't know about you, but 189 silvers, I don't think I've gotten in my career. So 189 silvers is like crazy number of silvers. And he's hardcore. I mean, he's detecting all the time. Rain, snow, sleet, ice, doesn't matter. He's out there. But he's put the time in and he's got the reward. And he actually claims that the detector that he's using now is probably the reason that he's finding so much. But I don't think he's giving himself enough credit, because the detector will make a difference. There's no doubt. But he's swinging the detector over it. And that's what you got to do. And you got to keep swinging. And he's finding this stuff. So go to the next slide, Nancy, because I'm going to show these people. He's got, like, the way his books are set up, he's got like all the dates of the coins. It's like you're doing like a coin collecting book. Like, you purchase those blue books with all the coins and you get all your dates. He's got like lined up. These are just sample pages, like just mini sample. And he gets upset when he's got like a blank in there. He's like, I didn't find that one yet. So it's like, oh my God, it's probably like one of the rarest ones to find. But he's like, he's got so many of them. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Next slide.
Incredible.
So I think you guys are getting the idea. This guy's good at what he does.
We do have a quick question. What type of detector is he swinging?
Yeah, I wasn't going to be advertising detectors, but I'll tell you, it's a Knox. It's a Knox 800. See Joe about the Knoxes and their company. I'll give them a shout out. But he's using the Knox.
Hi, Carol Morris. I didn't know she was here.
Yeah, he's using the Knox, and he's not afraid to tell people. But there's a learning curve with it. All because you buy a Knox doesn't mean you're going to find stuff. You got to learn how to use the machine, right? So he knows how to use his machine, and he still says he's still creating programs. He's still learning it, but it is making a difference. And everybody I talk to, because a lot of our guys, the guys I work with or hunt with, a lot of them do use the Knox, and they swear by it too. It's a good machine. But I'm not putting down anybody's machine. But you asked me the question, I'll tell you what it is. It was a Knox. Yeah, next slide. He collects everything, which is so cool. So I don't know how many real guns. Actually, you got a lot of toy guns. I think he did get a real Derringer. That was the real gun that he had found. But just a sampling of some of the guns, the toys. A lot of them intact, and these are the intact ones. He's got a lot of pieces of them, but these are the intact ones that he found. Next slide.
They're such a fun find.
Oh my God, pocket knives galore.
Yes.
But I like that how he displays everything. Like he, puts it on shelves. He built shelves into his walls to show this kind of stuff. It was amazing what he's done. Next slide. Cars.
Look at those.
Toy cars. anyone that does beaches, you get these all over the place. A lot of times in yards and stuff. Well, he had so many, he didn't know what to do with them. So he took out a closet in his house, and he used the shelves in the closet and redesigned the closet to make a little display for his toys.
Well,
that's funny.
I was gonna say he must have a loving wife.
She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart.
To give up closet space.
Well, this is all basement. This is whole basement. It's like unbelievable.
That is so awesome. Look at those.
Look, these are some other things that he's found, like the cast iron toys, the old toys. A funny story about that is he found one more recently, but over the past year, and it seems like every time he goes to the same area very, very often, and it seems like every time he goes, he gets another piece of that toy. So he's almost assembled the toy now. He actually brings it to the club meetings, like, I got another piece this month. So it's like he's assembling it. So he's going to have the whole horse and rider by the end. It's just crazy. But they're not all right next to each other. They're all in this area. So this toy broke up, and he's finding it like in all different parts of this area, which is really fascinating. It's going to be a beautiful toy once he has it assembled. It's really cool. Next slide. Religious artifact. I mean, he's done. I can't show you the displays that he has with religious artifacts. He's got many religious artifacts on the display. My personal thing too is, if you notice on the right hand side, the thimbles are so cool. To find one of those always gets excited, and you seem to find a lot.
One yet.
Oh, it's funny because I was looking at that, and you find them around houses and stuff, but you find a lot in the cornfields or in the fields too. And I was actually like, why? Because why would somebody be using it? And they said a lot of times when they were harvesting, they would put thimbles on their fingers to protect their fingers from getting gnawed up by the stalks and stuff. So I never thought about that. But I don't know if that's just a wise tale or true, but there's a fair number of thimbles that come out, and when they come out and they're silver, that's even sharp. A lot of them get, wasted because they get flattened. But there are techniques, and he's really good at it, about opening them up again and getting that nice round shape. But yeah, I would covet these things. These are like crazy. They're great. Next slide. Again, buckles. This guy's got his own assortment. He's got shelves and shelves and shelves of buckles in every type. And the other amazing thing about this guy, I gotta share this because it's just crazy. He knows exactly where he found the buckle, when he found the buckle. I mean, he can tell you exactly every single thing. He has a photographic memory. So he just remembers everything. He can tell you the story about every single thing he found. I just sat one day and listened to him, and I was like, how do you do that? And it just is a natural gift he has. He just remembers everything he finds. Next slide. That's why I'd like to sit down with him just to write a journal. My favorite on this, I don't know if you guys, I like Game of Thrones. So when I saw that bottom left corner, the dragon.
I was going to say, look at that one.
That is like unbelievable. Oh my God. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this is crazy. I had to take a picture of it. I forgot it. I had to take a picture. Next slide. And keys, tons of keys and locks and keys. Again, you're getting the idea, right? He's found a lot of stuff. Next slide.
No way.
This is incredible. This is a museum.
It is a museum. That's why to share it with you all is one of the reasons. But I want to tell you something. He's been using these techniques that I'm going to show you and talk about, and this is what's helped him do this. This isn't just magic. He's worked at this. Next slide. I like the tomahawk thing. That I thought was like really cool, really different. I don't know. There's like a thing. It looks like a World War I bomb in the back. It could have been like a toy or bomb. I didn't get the story.
Oh, okay.
But that's kind of weird with the fins. It looks like the game you play today, like the Jarts game or something like that. It kind of looked like the old-fashioned, like colonial Jarts game. I don't know. But it also looked like a World War I bomb. So I had no idea. I had no story on that one. I wish he was here. He doesn't use the internet, like social media at all. He's against social media. So he uses it for research, but not for social. These cases, he actually sells these cases. And he's very reasonable. He actually has donated them to the club for raffle prizes. And I wasn't going to showcase my stuff, but I bought some of these cases from him, and they were so beautiful. Like, to me, like, you have this stuff you find, right? Just have it sitting in a drawer in a shoebox. It's such a shame, You find it, like, display it, and he makes these displays. He also gives displays to like his permissions. So if he goes to a site and he finds some stuff, he'll put together like a little display box of the stuff that he found there, and he'll give it to the farmer or to the owner. And I can tell you that's given him a lot of repeat permissions because they appreciated that, and they can see what was found on their property. So he's very kind and he's very generous. He's not just a hoarder. You might get the idea he's hoarding this stuff. He's not. He shares it too. So it's beautiful. Just his artwork too. It's very artistic. Next slide.
Next one. Amazing. I just an oohing of this stuff. A few people have asked, a few people did ask, who is this gentleman? And I did just type in the chat that he doesn't want his name out. So he's just a friend and a club member, but he doesn't want his name to be mentioned.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be. I'm just telling you, and I got to respect that because he's a humble guy. I'll tell you the story. This is a true story. Is that one of the other gentlemen that was very kind in showing me some stuff. He mentioned to people that he would be willing to take some people out, and then after he showed them this kind of stuff he was finding, everybody was driving him crazy. They was calling him, they were emailing him, they were writing him letters. He said, like, I don't even know these people, and they're like asking me to go to my sites and stuff. He said, I'm so sorry that I said I would take a group out. He said, this isn't designed to be a group activity because I do group hunts. I pick sites I bring people to, and I like to have fun with everybody there. This guy is kind of like a lone wolf. He prefers to go alone. He's taken me under his wing a little bit because he's at a point where we have a lot in common. He's a fisherman. I'm a fisherman. He's into stuff that I'm into. So he likes now having a buddy with him because as you get older, it's kind of like your perspective changes a little bit. What if something happens in the middle of the woods? You have somebody there to back you, got your back. So it's a little bit different. This guy, same thing. If people knew who he was, they'd go to him and say, hey, will you take me out? And he doesn't want to deal with that kind of stuff. He has his own crew he goes with. He's got a couple of buddies that he goes with, and that's it. He's actually invited me a couple of times. And I have to tell you, the times that I spent with these guys has been probably the most outstanding days detecting in my life in terms of finds. It's just, it's just unbelievable. But I was going to say,
find a part of this is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Just if you could just go back for 1 second.
Sorry.
The only thing I don't want to kill time, but I don't want to forget to say something I wanted to share anyway. These are some of my favorite Indian head pennies. They're like my favorite to find. That green sheen, that patina that comes out of the ground. Oh, that's so cool. And he doesn't think anything of finding them. He gets them all over the place. In the middle, the 2 cent, I think it's a 2 cent piece. In the middle, one of my buds got 2 2-cent pieces in the same hole last year at a site that I gave him. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. I found nothing there. I found like garbage. I found a bunch of mini balls and musket balls. And I think the best I got was maybe a V nickel or something simple. But the guys I've been taking there, Joe is one of them. He's got some Indian heads out of there. And this is a hunting out park. It was a hunting out area. And they're finding it. They're good. They're good at what they do. Next slide.
I can click it now.
There we go. Again, just assorted stuff. It happens a lot of times with the buffaloes. They're faceless, dateless buffaloes. One of my friends in the Yankee club that I belong to, he did something really kind for my pirate hunt. As I said, there's some people that many people made some very generous donations to the pirate hunt. But what he did was he took the buffaloes and he spray painted them gold, so they look like gold coins. So that when I put them on, I think he had 70 golden nickels that we put out in the field for people to find the actual nickel. And those nickels were actually for prizes. They were tokens. So, I mean, a very generous donation of these buffalo nickels painted in gold. They look so cool that I liked it so much. I had the idea. I came back and I spray painted all my tokens silver to make them look like silver. So that was kind of cool. Next slide.
That's different.
Again.
Look at that thing in the center there.
Yeah, this is his showpiece. I guess a lot of your eyes would have gone right to the middle to the medallion, which is awesome. But above that is actually his most treasured find. I asked him, like, what's your most treasured? That's his most treasured find. It was an intact solid gold pocket watch. Unbelievable. Amazing. Unbelievable. Even for him, who has found so much, he got excited when he saw that. he got really excited.
And it has the pocket watch chain attached to it still, right? Or is that the medallion change?
Yeah, I think that was the medallion chain. I don't think there was a fob with the pocket watch. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think actually the pocket watch might have had a leather fob or something. There was something, but it was actually disintegrated a little bit. But I just want to point out, around the medallion in the middle, you see some arrowheads. And I don't know about you guys, but I love arrowhead. Like looking for arrowheads, I can do that all day long. Can't get enough of them. So if you're detecting and your eyes are on the ground and you're in a cornfield that's been plowed, and recent rain maybe, that's like the best time. So he actually was really kind because he knew I've been after finding arrowhead. My son and I, that's kind of our mission, is to find arrowheads. And he gave me a site. He gave me a site that was producing really well coinage, but he said also it was a Native American site and part of that field. So I had a good chance to get some arrowheads. So, he finds these religiously. It's really cool. But he's not actually the best arrowhead hunter. I'm going to show you the best one in a little bit. All right. So that's all kinds of stuff. Next slide.
Click.
Nancy, you're going to be all over
shelf. This is mine.
All over this. I know.
I want all of that right there.
When I saw this, I said, "Oh, Nancy's going to be like all over this."
This is me. My eyes just lit up, going, "Yep, I'm in love." Give me those bells.
I noticed that book you're in. The book here. Shout out to the book that you're in. That you were holding a crotobell. So when I saw you holding the crotobell, I said, "Oh, Nancy's got to be into these. So I got to show you this." So I actually, you can see it. It's in a mason jar. I don't show off my stuff, but there's one thing I wanted to share with you. I don't know if you can actually see it.
Hold on, I can go. There you go.
If you can see, there's the leather tongue is still attached to it, and that's to me is what is like so wicked cool. Is that's attached, and it still got the little. Oh, there's a name for that. I can't think of it. Oh, all right. Someone
I call it a dingling.
Yeah, there's a name for it. There's a special name. I know someone knows that, and someone knows it.
Is it a dinger or something?
No, it has a special name, and I'll have to put it in chat later or find out for you. I know someone out there knows this, but I put them in mason jars just to show you. I guess my video locked up, so I don't know if that's good or bad.
It will come back. You locked up before, but you came back, so you'll be back.
All right. I got maybe excited. I shook the table, but the crotobell, I put them in mason jars just as a way to hold them because they don't fit in the display cases. And now he has them on the shelves there, and that's really kind of cool that he has it. The bells, the regular bells, and then on the bottom shelf you can see they're also one of my favorites is the ox knobs. Should I do something with my video or just let it sit?
It will come back.
All right, because
I'm afraid
when it went to full screen, that's what happened. But that's okay. It's cool. You don't have to see me talking.
You want to check?
I don't know. I don't want to lose you guys. If I want you to see my passion in what I'm saying, but at the same time, I don't want to mess with stuff and make it worse for you. So there's nothing I can do on my end, I don't think. I'll try, but
it wouldn't be a stream. It's something to screw up.
That's true. We always have one sort of tech issues. It's usually me.
All right, so I don't know. I just started it.
You are.
It will come back. It will come back. You froze earlier, but you came back. Your voice and everything is fine, and we can hear you fine. Okay, everyone's looking at your photos. No one's looking at you. We're looking at your photos.
That's good. Yeah, I'm nothing to look at, so that's good. Next slide.
Oh, hush. I still want to look at the bells.
Well, I had to bring this one up because of all the ox knobs there. The very first ox knob I found, I didn't know what the heck it was. And then I found, and there's so many different varieties. I didn't realize all the different varieties. They're very, very collectible as well. And he's got a fair number of them. And again, some more of the toy cars. He loves the little sheriff badges and stuff like that. I don't think one of those, I don't think it's in this picture, but he has a Derringer that's a real gun. It's not a toy gun. It's an actual real gun. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool. Right along with the sheriff badge.
Yeah. Again, all kinds of brass stuff that you're finding. Crazy. Next slide.
I'm still looking at the bells.
Yeah.
Come on, you know me with bells.
I forgot to point it out, but you can get a hint of it in the back. if you look in the back of the slide, you can see all the license plates, right, in the front. But I know that gets your attention. But if you look in the back, you see what are shiny. Those are trophies. And the other thing he does, and Nancy, I know you can relate to this, is he does automotive restorations, specifically van restorations. So what he does is he competes. He likes to show off his vans and stuff. And it's kind of funny because he tied it in with detecting, because when he goes to one of these shows, what happens is he goes to the show. It was at some site that was like, it was like a fairground kind of a thing. And he asked, since he was there with the car show, can I detect? And the guy says, yeah, sure. No one's been allowed to detect, but you're already here. Go ahead and do it. And he killed it that day at the fairground. So he's gotten all kinds of trophies related to his cars. Lately, he's been finding stuff, and we all find it, like tossed away license plates or tags and stuff like that. So he had found so many that he just started saving them as like a collecting thing. Hey, I'm back. Hey,
you're back. There you go. See?
Yeah. All right, next slide.
All right, next one.
All right, so again, assorted things. He's got these label, like the ornamental stuff that he's found, crazy stuff. All right, next slide. I don't want to bore you with everything. Again, I can't tell you how many silver sets he's got. Like you could fill the drawers with all the silverware he's got. I had one picture. I had 200 pictures, okay, and I cut it down like less than half of what I had to show you, and I just wanted to make it so we can try to get through it in an hour. It's not going to happen. Try to get through it in an hour.
We all love seeing these.
Marbles, I love too. All right, shout out to Joe. I got to give shout outs to do. Bucket listener. All right, this I wish it was mine, but the closest I've gotten to ever finding one of these is holding Joe's. And Joe got it in Connecticut, I think, right, Joe? Was it Connecticut?
Yes, Connecticut.
And I know it's been published all over the place. I know you got in the book with this. You've got a lot of credit for this, and obviously it's a beautiful piece. So yeah, shout out to you, Joe. That's really an awesome find.
Thank you.
All right, so now, this is kind of like what are we doing for time? It's almost 8 o'clock.
We got plenty of time. We probably will go over, so I do understand that some of you will have to leave for your other shows, but stick around.
If you got to leave, I respect that, and do what you got to do. But I'll make it. I'll try. I can't say I'll make it worth your while. I'll try to make it worth your while if you stay. So what's the secret to all these finds? All this stuff that I just showed you. Well, it comes down to I think 3 things: research, getting a location, and having a little bit of luck, because you got to have luck. I mean, all the other things, you got to know your detector. But again, I wasn't focusing on the detector. I was focusing on getting yourself on a site that you can swing your coil over it, because I've seen people find good stuff with bounty hunter entry-level detectors, and nothing against bounty hunter. I'm not shouting them down. I started with a bounty hunter. My son uses a bounty hunter. So it's like good detectors, and they're great. It doesn't matter so much if you get the luck of putting that coil over. That's what counts. There's other bells and whistles that you can have that enhance it. And you all know this. I'm preaching to the choir. But it's research to me, location that makes a difference. If you're going out there and you're just randomly stopping somewhere, good luck, because that's all it is. It's like buying a lotto ticket. Sometimes you're going to win, but more often you're going to lose. But if you go to that site and you've done some research on that site, you've just increased your probability, your chances of finding stuff. So let's get into it, because I got little stories to go with a lot of these. Now, this is what I like the analogy. I wish this GIF was working. Yeah, Homer. The GIF, when it's working, is actually he's lifting out all these tools. And the analogy I was trying to make is that there's no magic to what I'm going to show you or tell you. There's no magic to that. It's picking the right tool for the right job, or a combination. A lot of people are saying, Wayne, you're like a multitasker, multi-tool, like a Leatherman, because you use like all these different tools. I don't rely on any one, but it's really, a composite of all these things working together, kind of to reinforce. And I'll show you I'll give you a perfect case coming up of where these tools kind of play off of each other really, really well. But you need to select the right tool for the right job. And sometimes you're going to need more tools. If you ever had a job that you did and you try to use the wrong tool, you know how frustrating it is, because you waste so much time. You're trying to get this tool to work, and it's not the right tool for the job. It's a pain in the neck. So what you got to do is use the right tool. There's no one, and I'm saying this, I repeat it, there's no one type of tool or research that serves every purpose. Okay. So having said that, let me show you some. I'm going to open my toolbox for you. Probably the first thing, research. Research is key. Librarians are your friend. Make them your friend. All right. Reference librarians, they're unbelievably knowledgeable. This is what they do. This is their profession. And a lot of research librarians just kind of like sit there waiting for people to come to them. Like the information desk, they just kind of like sit there waiting, hoping that someone will come to them and ask them a question, challenge them. They went through all this advanced education to put it to use. And what I was saying, I told Nancy and Joe, is that I volunteer. Once a month, I volunteer at the library. And I run a kids program at the library, not for detecting. It's called the Star Club. Here's my shout out to the Star Club. Science, technology, astronomy, and robotics. So once a month, I get the kids there. We show them all this kind of stuff, and we have fun. We do a chess club. We do some stuff. But in doing that, the librarian, I do it for free. It's just a volunteer thing. It's like a payback. My kids went through it, and I want to help other kids now. So that's all good. But I became friends with the librarian, the head librarian. So when I need something in my research and I'm looking for a book and they don't have it, because it's a small library, I guarantee you that she goes out of her way to get me a copy of that book, no matter where she has to find it, because of the stuff I do for them. So it's like one hand washes the other a little bit. So libraries are your source. I mean, I'll show you next slide. One of my all-time favorite books, because I love schoolhouses. I love the history of schoolhouses. This is more like a coffee table book. It's mostly illustrations. It's an amazing book of all of the Connecticut schoolhouses that were actually documented Connecticut schoolhouses around the state. Go to the next slide. This is an example of a page from that. And when I look at these pages or these photographs, I try to imagine, okay, this is the way that the school was set up. This is where the kids were playing. And they're kids. They're going to lose stuff. A friend of mine recently said, well, Wayne, I really don't like schoolhouses too much. I said, why is that? He said, well, these kids, you look at the colonial, during the Depression, these kids had no money. Sure, they didn't have any money. So they probably, if they did have a coin and they lost it, they probably got a beating when they got home because you lost that coin, you're in trouble. But if you look at them, they all have jackets. They have clothing that has buttons on it, right? They're playing rough. And you notice it's all ages. The old schoolhouses are all ages. So you're going to find something. Kids are going to lose something. Maybe not jewelry, none of the stuff you might find at modern schools. The modern school kids, they throw. My father-in-law, who's a detectorist, just an aside, he said that kids were taking their lunch money, like the change from the lunch money, leaving it on their lunch trays and throwing it away. It's like, can you imagine the dump that's out there with how much coinage that would get thrown out in those trays? That's crazy. These kids, they valued it. But I use this also for locations because, like, if you're trying to find one of these schoolhouses, and many of them still exist, many have been converted, many of them have been torn down. But my goal in this research was to find which ones are still standing and go and verify them. And there's some tips that you can use here, like walls. They don't tend to, like if there's a stone wall behind there, that doesn't tend to move easily. So if you can find like landmarks, trees might get cut down or replaced, but certain landmarks don't change, and you can use that. But you really need to research this because, case in point, me fool that I am, there was it's called a Little Red Schoolhouse, and it's 5 minutes from my house. And you drive by and it says like 1933 Little Red Schoolhouse. I was like, yes, this is great. It's all by itself in this little thing. So I've detected it. And actually my son did better than I. But we've got all modern coins, all clad. And it's like, wait a second, this is like 1933. There should be something still over here, something old, And it turns out I get this book and I looked up the Little Red Schoolhouse. And what I found out was the Little Red Schoolhouse had been moved from another part of town. That's not where the schoolhouse was. Just more recently, since like the 90s, they moved it over here just to preserve it. But the original schoolhouse is now like a nature works place. So if I really want to hit the original schoolhouse, I got to go back to where it was. So I wouldn't have known that unless I did the research. So I was telling you, a drive-by, you get excited when you see the sign. Don't believe everything you see. That's what I'm saying. Next slide. All right, this guy, I got to give him a tribute because in my years of detecting, there's certain people that have made major impacts on my life. And I think this is probably the guy that's made the biggest impact on me personally. I respect this guy, respected him amazing. I got to meet him live. I had always, my dream would have been to detect with him, but I got to meet him live at Bone at Best of New England up in New Hampshire. This was like more than 20, it had to be at least 20 years ago, because I think my son was like 8 years old and he was speaking. And the book on the right, The World of the Relic Hunter, he was doing a signing that day. He had just published it recently and he was doing a signing. So I have it here. I locked up again, bummer. But I have it here. And in the book, it says to Wayne, Chris, and Anne Marie, good luck relic hunting and best wishes always, Ed Fedori. And like, this is priceless to me. This book is, my most valuable book in detecting. And you don't learn detecting from this book, that World of the Relic Hunter. Ed was a historian. He was a history teacher, and his career and my career seem to have some parallels because I'm a teacher as well. And as he migrated through his career, he was looking for different things because there's only so many artifacts you can really find and just accumulate. What do you do with all these things? You got to do. To me, there's got to be a greater purpose with all these things that you find. So he started working with historical societies, and he ended his career not really doing much recreational hunting, but he was working on preserving. And I think at the time of his death, he was doing research on a fort because his passion. He was from upstate New York. If anyone knows him or knew him or even had the honor or pleasure of detecting with him, he was from upstate New York, and he had spent a lot of his career up there with the French and Indian sites and the battles and the forts. And he ended his career doing the archaeological research, and he bridged the gap. He's one of the first people to bridge the gap between detectorists and archaeologists. And there's been a love-hate relationship there for years. Well, he bridged that gap, and it's given archaeologists a new perspective, many of them, about the opportunities to work with detectorists and what we know and can help them. So there is something to be fostered there, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But Ed is the guy. These books are still available. I would trust me. I'd give you mine, but I treasure it so much I can't let it out of my hands. Next slide.
You're back.
Yeah. One of the things I got from Ed was that he doesn't write about like the detecting techniques. He writes it from a story, and he relives the story. He often takes the role of the person that was in his story and imagining what it was like when you found the artifact, or when he finds the artifact. What was it like then? And he refers a lot to going to in the research journals. And he turned me on to like reading some of these journals. In my own personal Civil War isn't our area. I'm in New England. I'm in Connecticut. So Civil War, we rarely get it. You get lucky sometimes. You might get something super, but it's really not that kind of stuff. We're revolutionary. So I focused over the last year anyway, pretty heavily on doing journals from the Revolutionary War, and then that's been helping me locate sites that were encampments during the Revolutionary War. And that's what my current project is now. I've got 3 French encampments that I found that are accessible. I'm still waiting for permissions on 2 of them, but one of them is on open property. We haven't found my goal. You know what it is? My goal is to find a French military button. If I find that French military button, that confirms that was the camp that I found. And I have a whole story about that. I have a whole presentation just on the French camps. But Rochambeau, when they went through Connecticut with Washington, they actually passed through my hometown. So it's kind of like a sentimental value too. They passed through and they stayed here. Washington stayed here. Like Washington stayed everywhere. But they have these posters, and I got a lot of the information from these journals. Next slide. All right, postcards. I love postcards because they're a picture, of history. They're like a picture of history. But I get postcards not for the sake of the postcard, but for the illustrations. And we talked about this, Nancy. Like you can get ideas like where did people congregate, like tourist attractions. If there was a picture of a beach, where were they on the beach? Where were they in the water? Was there a raft out there? What was going on there? I look at how the house was situated and so forth. So postcards, they're available pretty much everywhere. I just happened to bump into this site that was like selling them, but I go to like antique flea markets, stuff like that. And if I see them in like a box of them, I'll pick them up, and you get them like cheap, but they're like a wealth of information. Next slide.
There's also another site that does postcards. So you can just, if you Google postcards or vintage postcards of your area, you'll find them. I've used postcards. They're amazing to actually look at and see.
Yeah, I have to believe there's like a postcard.com that has like postcards from all over the world. Or
you would think, right?
Yeah, I bet you there's got to be something out there. And wait till I tell you something a little bit. This is a picture from a postcard of a very popular beach in Connecticut that we do, Sherwood Island. The club actually has had hunts here many times. But what fascinated me about this is just when you read the text a little bit. 1914, okay, for the park system, did not have access until 17 years later. The park commission was looking across to the park at illegal campers in 1923. So I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, where's this creek? Where could I stand to have that view? And I see this tents over there, and it looks like some, maybe some automobiles even parked right on the beach. People had to lose stuff there. This is like 1923. So it gives you like a location on the beach that may be worth a hit. And now, and we talked about this the other day, Nancy, things change. So like hurricanes and so forth that have come have changed and altered the way this creek would run. So this is called New Creek. I was talking to a guy in our club who does this island or Sherwood Island quite frequently. And he was saying that creek's probably not the same place anymore. But that's the fascinating part, is to find, okay, it's not there anymore. Where was it? I got a whole nother story about that. But this is just where you could use a postcard to get more than just a pretty picture. You can kind of get an idea to hunt. So again, it's one of the tools in the toolbox. Next slide. I love these. You're driving by and you see one of these, it's got to be something important, right? Probably not detectable because it's really important. It's historic. But I will go to these and I'll have my camera, and that's the beauty of having the cell phones, is I'll take pictures of these and I'll do close-ups of all the different things. So then it's invaluable because these are maps. A lot of times it's maps, and part of it might be historic, but others might be on private permission areas that you can actually get into, and it can be very, very helpful. The next slide is actually a close-up of this area. This in the background is one of my favorite places to go, and it's actually detectable. And that's a shoddy mill. And I don't know, I'm like I'm into buttons. Obviously, my wife said, you got to stop talking about buttons because people are going to think you're button crazy. I am in a way, but
I love buttons. They're best.
Cool. But I don't know if many of you have heard this. Maybe some haven't, so it's worth mentioning. And even I should have said that at the beginning. I know I'm not talking about anything magical that you probably haven't heard before, but maybe if there's one thing you never heard, then it's worth it. If you take one pearl out of this talk, then I feel like I accomplished something. Well, I didn't know what a shoddy mill was. I had no idea. And I had asked Joe and Nancy the other night. And they were humble people, and they said they didn't know either. But a shoddy mill, just in cap, is a place where people used to bring remnants of clothing. And they would tear up the clothing into rags. And they would take all those rags and they would reuse it and remix them. And they would make, a lot of them were during the Civil War. Were very popular in making uniforms because you needed to crank out a lot of uniforms when they were doing it. Well, what happened was they were ripping the clothes apart. They got this like whole section with all buttons on it. Well, it was too time consuming to take off each of the buttons and save that little piece of wool. So they used to just throw the buttons aside. Well, they used to fill barrels of these buttons. And Nancy was saying there's a couple of sites in Rhode Island, I think, in Massachusetts.
Rhode Island and Maine that they throw them into the river. The riverbeds.
They just throw them in the river, and the cloth dissolves over time, and then you're left with the buttons. There was an article in one of the Western Eastern, one of those magazines that was a guy talking about the shoddy mills. That's where I first heard it. And then all the buttons he was finding, like unbelievable numbers of buttons. And like I said, some of these are very collectible. The other thing that I found out, which I didn't know, was that the material itself actually made for a good fertilizer. So farmers used to buy these cases, these casks full of the remnants of the yarn, which had buttons attached, and they used to put them in their fields too because it would hold moisture, and so the crops would hold the moisture. So now you go to the fields and you find a lot of buttons, and you find unusual buttons. I had one friend, he says, I go to my button field. It's just like, obviously, they got there somehow, They're probably workers that were losing these because they're all a variety of buttons. They probably came from one of these shoddy mill fertilizers, or like like I said, to hold the water. It's almost like mulch that they would use. It was really kind of cool. But I haven't had any success at this. I have. I'm lying. I have. I found silver at the site, but I haven't found any buttons. It's funny because I got silver, but I was looking for a button. Next slide.
It's there. It's waiting for you.
This is what I like to say is that talking to people with families that have lived for generations in your area of interest can often learn much more than you can from books. So part of your research, I'm big into libraries. I love the library. That's true. And I like researching things that you read. But conversations that you have, that's a personal side. You get stories and history. I looked up a family's history in town, and I contacted the grandsons. And when I contacted them for permission to do the field, I mentioned that their family had a lot of history, and they were so intrigued by the fact that I had researched their family that I have a lifelong permission at this place now, because the guy, he liked me. He liked what I did. I offered to give him stuff. When I find old stuff like farm tools, which many people find and they toss, it's garbage for them, but it's very collectible. And he appreciated it so much that I restored the farm tools for him oftentimes, and I left it for him like a little display. And he's so proud of that display. It's like it made my day. And he now he comes to the field when I'm detecting, and I often bring friends with me. And he comes to the field oftentimes in his truck, and he stops by and he says, "How you doing today?" And I said, "Oh, we just got a few golf balls." He said, "Golf balls? That's great. Thank you so much." Because when you're finding those golf balls, you don't find them with a detector, but you find them by sight. When you find a golf ball and he's taking a tractor through there and those blades are spinning, it catches one of those golf balls, it shoots it out like a bullet. And he said, that's like a hazard. And, he had, in case in point, he had a car that was driving by and one of these golf balls went right through the windshield. So he said, detect all you want. Take all the golf balls you want. And we always kid one of my friends. I'll show you his picture later. He always, his thing is like, if he goes hunting and he doesn't find a golf ball, he didn't have a good day. All right. So that was like, all right. Next slide.
You find them in the weirdest spots, though. You really do.
It's like they grow up in my yard. And I think my neighbor just hits them into my yard. It should drive me crazy, but I've got them in my yard all the time. I find them in the strangest places. You're right, detecting. This is something, I just mentioned this because
this is
what reminded me.
I didn't know about this.
Me neither.
What brought this to mind to mention tonight was a recent friend, just over the last year, and he's an amazing detectorist. This guy he's crazy good. And again, I'm not mentioning any names on these cases. And there are many people that I work with to detect with, and I just want to give you know who you are, and if you're listening to me right now, and I know many of you are out there supporting me tonight, and I appreciate that, and checking out this great show that Nancy puts on, not me, the show, but. The thing is, you gave me this idea, so shout out to you, okay, buddy? He said he was driving by one day, and he saw a bride and groom tree, and I was showing him. Actually, there's a longer story to this. I was teaching him some of the techniques, and my close friends I've showed these things to, and I was showing him, and I said, one of the things you want to do is when you find a cellar hole, is look and see if you can find near the cellar hole 2 trees. And the 2 trees, they're called bride and groom trees because those bride and groom trees were planted for good luck for that bride and groom, that this was the start of their house, the start of their family, and these 2 trees would prosper along with them. That was the whole idea. It was like a tradition. Well, it does a lot of things for you. It can tell you the front of the house because a lot of times you want to know where is the front of the house. And all you got is a square in the ground. What's the front? This can indicate that. Also, people hung around these trees for shade. They stopped at these trees. They talked at these trees. Case in point, one of my best, most unusual, not my best find, but one of my unusual finds was at the base of one of these trees. And it was a Connecticut copper that was perfectly sliced in half. So I know many of you have found these. The coppers, when they're sliced in half, they got more for their money that way. I had never found one before. So when I found it, and this had been pretty well hit, it was at the base of one of these trees. So I've never forgot that. Like if I go to a cellar hole, people know me. I always concentrate on the big old trees. That's always been productive for me. And that's what
I'm going to be doing now.
Yeah, that's what I suggest. Well, this one, I have a whole presentation on this. This is from a supply plunge place. There's about 7 foundations in this place. This was the caretaker house. This one, what was there at one time, and you see this new growth forest behind it. This was all open field. Caretaker house was built in the late 1800s, and it was used up until the 1940s. So it's a rather modern house. But a lot of these are very difficult to detect because of the overgrowth back there and the brush and so forth. But if you see these 2 trees, you kind of know you're on the right path. So keep an eye out. Next time you see a bride and groom tree, think of me. Next slide.
We're all going to be doing that now. That's going to be the first thing we look for.
There you go. This is Consulting Detectorist Central. All right, it's like my little NASA center. I'm not promoting PCs or Macs. So I have both. They both have different purposes. Like I said, there's different tools. I love the Mac for graphics. When I do graphics, the Mac has been my tool. On the left, the PC. Again, I use a PC more. I know PCs better, but I use both of them, and a lot of times side by side. And I know a lot of people do dual screens. It's funny, if you ever saw my workplace, I have like 3 screens in front of me because I do like to multitask, but I also like to have that spread out. It gives a nice spread out. Tonight, I'm actually using a little teeny laptop. That's why this is a little teeny laptop, but it's working, so we're not gonna knock that down. I don't want to jinx it, but also I have to point out there's a pirate mug on my desk. Okay, Andy, there's my pirate mug. Next slide.
Ready.
All right, this I got to share with you because I'm thinking many of you may not know this, and I actually took a note on it because I wanted to say it exactly. And the internet. When you talk about the internet, everyone, you guys are all on the internet, right? You guys are YouTubers, and just about everybody I know uses Google or Yahoo or Bing or Dogfile, all kinds of stuff out there. But when you use that, and this is a quote that I just took, Google is relatively useless 90% of the time because 90% of the internet is deep web, and Google can't index it to show you the resources that you might have used. So if you look at this picture of the internet, what it's saying is with Google, when you do a Google search, you're getting hits, and you can Google cellar holes and you get 1 million hits. But that's nowhere near what's there. And there's nowhere near the detail that you probably would want to see. Because what's there, really there for research, is you got to go deeper. And some people break it down into the deep web. I think the dark web is like really mysterious. It sounds like it's not really good or legit. Well, there are some countries, and I don't know if you have an international audience, but there are some countries that ban the dark web or use of the dark web because it's research that's published, it's news that's published that isn't in the mainstream, and they don't want their people to learn about stuff that's out in the mainstream. They're trying to protect. I know you're not going to like this, but the surface web, your ISPs, your government watches everything you do. They know where you've been, they know what you've linked, they can watch you. But guess what? The deep web and the dark web, they don't have control on. And it's like you kind of see these shows sometimes, right? When it's like a crime show and they're trying to avoid being captured or seen. That's kind of like the application here. When you go into and these are special browsers that you have to use, and they're all readily available. They're free. There's a whole bunch of them. I took a bunch of notes on it, but that's a whole nother lecture. But the thing is, those browsers, what they do is they relay you to different browsers, like they pass you off. So your location may not be the real location. They're putting you in some other country. So no one can trace you. That's the idea. And it's kind of funny. You really know you're on the dark web when you go into Google and you type like a Google search or one of the search engines in there, and it gives you the answers in a foreign language because it thinks you're in that country. It doesn't know where you are. That's really, really cool. But I can tell you, like, I consider myself very new at this. I claim no expertise on this, but the more I'm learning about this, the more I see that there's an application here that's been untouched. So just, I was going to say Google dark web, but you're only going to get like a little piece of what it really is. All right. If you're interested in it, I have more information. I'll probably do something with this in the future because it fascinates me. 95% of what out there is not accessible unless you use special techniques. cool stuff. I think it's cool, but I like
it is. That'll be great for your Facebook page too to add that.
Love it. Now here's something a lot of people have used that I think is great. I use it too. It's a very common tool for people to use. Historic maps, great stuff. The thing is, there's a free version and a paid version. All they try to do is sell you pretty maps, and they're gorgeous maps. And in fact, I've not logged in with this picture. When you first log in and you first register, which is for free, they give you $1. They give you $1 credit to buying a map. I feel bad. I've never bought a map from them, but I've used their site a lot because it does give you like a lot of historic maps. It's not something that's guaranteed to be complete. If you go to the next slide has
there was a question saying, do you use the Library of Congress?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different resources. Library of Congress. I have, and what I'll do is before today, like I actually took today off for work. One, to recover a little bit my voice, but two, to add some extra stuff. I'll have like a epilogue to this, like a set of notes and stuff that I don't get to talk about. That will include some extra research sites, and that's one of them that's really good. I could spend a whole time on that, but yeah, I do use that, and I'm aware of it. That's really cool. All right, so what I was getting at over this is different locations, like throughout. This is just Connecticut. Somebody asked, by the way, just to ask that question: do I only deal with Connecticut? The answer is no. I do focus. I've helped people mostly from New England. That's where my services have been asked for. But I'm always honored to try to learn a new place. So I don't care where you are in the country. You may not be dealing with the same kinds of stuff that we deal with. Like we New England have a lot of cellar holes, and it's really popular. And it's my deep wood stuff is what I'd rather be. But there's other things, other applications. You have ghost towns and all kinds of stuff, really cool stuff. And, things all over the country. All right, next slide. So this is just a sampling. So what's nice about this, and I won't beat it up too much, but you can do overlays. So you can have like a Google Maps, and then you can run the historic maps on top of them, and that's really kind of neat. Next slide. And what I like about the historic maps, all those little black boxes you see are actually homesteads. They're homes. And then what's cool is they actually have the person's name. So if you get into, like, again, the research part of it, you look up the person's name. Sometimes you see a name that happens over and over and over again. So you know that was probably a prominent family. And I've used that many times to locate like an area that might be possibly detectable. This happens to be in Hanum, Connecticut. And this is where I found, in doing some research, there was a park. It's called Field Park. No mystery. It's called Field Park. And it was built in honor of this family. And it was like the place to go. It was the social place to go in the 1800s. So automatically these light bulbs are going off in my head and probably yours. Why? Where is this place? Let's go check it out. It's been hit really hard, but it's still giving up stuff. In fact, Joe gave up digging the musket balls out of here because there was so many musket balls. He was getting sick of it.
I love musket balls.
I know. Some people out there, Joe, might be saying, "Joe, why did you give them up?" But there's only so many. I guess you can dig. All right, next slide.
Show us Joe's house. Let's not.
There.
This is really cool. This is on the Connecticut River. It's a Hanum State Park, and I'll do a shout out now to one of my buds. He's found so much silver in this park that we renamed it after him. All right, because he's like, this is his park. This is, any of our guys, like if they find a lot of stuff at a park, as a joke, we usually rename it. So I took a picture of the sign, Hanum Meadow State Park, and I photoshopped his name into the sign. And then I was doing a presentation, and I threw it out there in the presentation. So he was kind of shocked to see his name there, but all fun. But the way we found this site, and it's actually a shout out to him, is that we had another map. It's not here. It's not one of these. It's a hand-drawn map of this area. And this was actually a little port at one time. So it was a port, there's stores, and there was the ship stores. And what happened was, over time, it all overgrew. Like when you look at this, a lot of this was all overgrown land. It does get flooded every year because of the river rises up. So what happened is, over the last few years, well, many years, it's been repopulated with brush. And it's not the kind of brush you'd want to go detect in. It's like briar brush. So it's like really, really nasty stuff. Well, he happened to go here because he likes this park. It's a big park. He was there, and they had cut the park. In other words, they bushwhacked or weed whacked all of the brush. They cut it all out. So now it opened up a whole new area for detecting. He went in and he started finding reals. He came to the club showing at the find of the month these reals. He said, "Wow, this is really cool." So somebody asked him, "Where'd you get it?" And he told. He said it. He said where it was. So we had a group hunt there like the next weekend. No one has ever since passed him in what they found there. So I guess it's good karma for him sharing it. But it's no one surpassed what he's found, and it's really awesome. And it was just because of these maps that we used. Next slide. Is that the next slide? It's just a close-up of some of the things. Next slide. It's just redundant. This is the L word. All right. So this is the LiDAR slide. And again, some of you have used it. Some of you are using it, and you're probably sitting there cringing a little bit. What's Wayne going to say about this right now? Or what's he going to talk about? And I'm not going to talk about how to use it. I'm just going to say it's another tool in my toolbox that's in many people's toolbox, and it's a killer tool. All right. It really is. Go to the next slide, and I'll explain a little bit better on it, on what's going on here. In this slide, you have a split screen. They call it a swipe layer. And what's going on with that is that you're seeing two different sets of images. The one on the left-hand side is a infrared-like mapping of the area. So it's an aerial photograph that's done. And it uses technology. And the technology is a laser technology. And what it does is it scans the surface of the area. And by using this technology, it sees through the trees. So you can have like trees growing, and it doesn't matter because it looks for anything that was below or underneath those trees. So if you get man-made stuff, it's going to show up. So it's a very useful tool when you have a forested area to try to find stuff underneath that forest. And that's what it does. But LiDAR is also used in the ocean as well. And they look at riverbeds, and they look at the seafloor. So it has a lot of different applications. I was looking at my notes. It actually stands for light detection ranging. Light detection ranging. My nose is a little stuffy. And it's a remote sensing. It's all part of the GIS. Somebody asked me, well, is that in all states? And it's in a lot of states, and it's not in all states. So I did do a search for today, and anyone that's interested, I actually will send it to Nancy. You can post it, or you can come to my group page, and I'll have it posted there. Of all the ones that are known to exist for the LiDAR charts, and these are put together, and you can go to those charts, and you can figure it out if you really want to spend the hours and hours to figure it out. Some are user-friendly, some are not so user-friendly. When I met Nancy the other day, I checked out because she had a site in New Hampshire. I wanted to help her. And I checked it out, and they have it there. And when I went to it, it's similar to what I use and I'm familiar with, but different as well. So it's not as intuitive. Like each of them have their own like little, nuances, the things that are a little bit different about them. But if you're willing to spend the time, you can figure it out. I'm nothing special. I can figure it out. You can figure it out. It's just, do you want to spend the months or weeks doing that when you could be swinging a detector? To me, it's like a no-brainer. Give me a site and detect. That's what I'm offering you. All right, that's what I'm offering you. But they call it. This is called topographic, and the other one is called bathymetric. I couldn't remember the word bathymetric when they do the seafloor. It's pretty cool. Really, really cool. I mean, it's
really is.
Really, it's really cool. I mean, I could spend hours just doing this. Next slide. What I like is I personally use. This is my only tip I'll give you is when I personally use it. I like to use the imagery with labels, because it gives me streets and stuff. So it gives me landmarks when I'm trying to locate a site. So I personally like to use that. But you can see all the different base map galleries that you have. And you can make layers. Essentially what it is, you layer things up, and then you can go and you flip through the different layers. And, it's a lot of searching. I mean, you got to like sitting at a computer screen, and you got to be a little internet savvy. But, you don't have to be crazy savvy. But you have to figure it out, because there's no like really how to. It's not like a really friendly kind of interface. You're going to have to spend time. And that's why when he showed me, he spent like an evening showing me to do it. I respected the fact that he just gave me like, months worth of learning in a nutshell. And I feel like I'm on LiDAR 101 with him now. I'm probably up to maybe LiDAR 102, maybe another level up higher, because I keep learning more stuff. And there's a new one out there for people. I don't know if some of you know this, some of you may not. There's a LiDAR 3D. And I'll tell you, like, if you look at the LiDAR 3D, it's another ball. It's more than a game changer. It's unbelievable, but it's not readily available. So you got to be lucky to have that accessible. Next slide. But it's a whole other thing. This one I love because almost everyone has this, and I'm going to give you a little case study with this because I think it's interesting to see how you can use this. And I call it aerial archaeology. Okay, so let's get into it. Next slide. This is Connecticut. This is the state of Connecticut. For those of you out of state, don't recognize it. If you look at this, you can each of those little orange balls that you're looking at are actually photographs that were taken. And in this, on the right-hand key, you'll see it. I don't know if it's tiny, you can see it, but it says air photos checked off 1934. So that was the earliest photos that were taken of this location, which is 1934. And if you go down the list, you see they did it again in 51, and it goes to 70, and you can scroll down and it goes up all the way to the 90s. But each one of these, you got to imagine that a plane flew back and forth anywhere from 8,000 to 35,000 feet. And actually, on it, it tells you like how many meters, like 80, I think it's supposed to be 8,300 meter or feet. They give you a code. And what I'm trying to say is the closer it is, the higher the resolution or the sharper the image will be. And that's what you want to go for. So if you're looking at the aerial maps, you want to look at the aerial maps that are done closer to the Earth. Obviously, it's a close-up and you get more detail. When you get higher up, you get more coverage, but then it gets less resolution. It's not as sharp, especially when you blow it up, because you're going to see I blow this up. So, all right, so these are all your dots. Next slide. So now I was researching this place. I was doing, long story short, I was doing boys' camps in Connecticut, and I wanted to find out abandoned boys' camps in Connecticut. So I came across this reference to Camp Moeen, which was a private boys' camp from 1930 to 1960. And I wanted to see what was going on. So I knew that the camp was, from an article I was reading, that the camp was located on or near Red Cedar Lake. So there's a search engine you can use here, and I searched for Red Cedar Lake. So it brought me to that little dot. Now, to the general region. Go to the next slide. When you go to the next slide, it shows you the dot right in the middle of the lake. You can see the lake there. The dot is illustrated. So that's where the photograph was taken. So now that photograph is going to be like almost like a wide field photograph. It's a widespread photograph. Each of the dots overlap by about 50%. So if you don't get one dot, you can go to the other dot and maybe catch it there too. So you can use multiple dots. This one just happened to be closest to where I knew the camp was. On the right-hand side, this is download, is JPEG, is PGN, I think, and TIFF. So you get different formats. Personally, I've done better with the TIFF. I seem to open those real easy with my computer. I don't know which one will work for you. It's the same data. It's just a black and white photo that you'll get. It's really, really cool. Next slide. So this is the black and white photo blow up of that dot. I circled this because I wanted to make it more apparent for you because I can't use my mouse to show you this. If you look in the middle of that dot, you should see like an L-shaped structure. Can you guys see that? Joe and Nancy, can you guys see it? If you can see it, they can see it. If you can see that,
figure it out.
Yeah, if you see that L-shaped structure, that's actually part of the riverfront. That's their boat launch area. That's where they did their outdoor recreation. So I had always wanted to know, where did the kids hang out for their boats? Where did they do the beaching? So this told me this was the section, because there's a lot of shoreline there. And if I wanted to narrow this down to where was the action? Where were they climbing in and out of these boats? Where were they swimming? Where was that swim platform? That's where you want to go. And what's kind of funny, this is an aside, and the person might be out there, and I'm not trying to offend you, but I may, is that I gave somebody this site. They went without me, which is fine. I was cool with it. They actually told me they were going, and that's fine. But they should have gone with me because they went to the wrong beach site. And they were hitting the water and they got nothing. And I told them, well, if you'd come with me or invited me, then I would have showed you this is where the actual beach site was. So again, karma's kind of a bitch. It comes and gets you sometimes too. So yeah, it is what it is.
You found more.
I found where it is. The interesting thing, while I have it and I'm thinking about it, you'll see there's a little island off the bottom of the yellow. There's actually 2 or 3 like little tiny islands. When this was a boys' camp, the kids used to go to the island as part of like an adventure trip. That was their adventure. They would go to the island and they had to stay overnight. So they had to row out and stay overnight on the island. That was their, bravery, their courage. And it was the older kids, just the older kids. So I thought to myself, boy, what a place to detect. Just get a kayak out there. There's a kayak launch right near there and go there, because I know the camp's been hit crazy hard over the years. It's been really hit hard. I know that. People know about this place. It's a public place. But that island, I don't know how many people have made the effort to kayak or canoe to that island to detect. So I told Joe that's on my bucket list for this year for sure. I want to go back. Next slide. Next slide. All right, this is an interesting. This is a close-up. So you can see as it gets closer, it gets a little blurrier. So you're going to have to get your eyes used to this a little bit. But if you get your eyes used to it, there's something that you should notice. And I put Joe on the spot last night. And I said, Joe, what do you see? Joe, what did you say? You remember?
Square building right there.
Yeah, up on the top, about 1 o'clock, you said, right?
Yep.
At 1 o'clock, you see a square. Now, some people looking at that might say, oh, that's a foundation. That's like really cool. Well, at this resolution and this magnification, that would be a foundation. That would be like a mansion. That would be like a huge, huge place. What it is.
Exactly, Darcy.
It's.
Someone just guessed it.
Yes! Shout out.
Awesome, Darcy. Kent Valley Diggers.
Yeah. So you're on board. You see it. Awesome. That's awesome. So you see that's the diamond from the baseball field. And if you look, you can see actually the shape of a baseball field. So that's where the kids played ball. So you know where I was going to go, right? That's where the ball field was. And I'll tell you, if you go, I'm giving you this, right? I'm giving you Red Cedar Lake, Camp Moee. Go. I cleaned out all the gun, the shotgun shells for you already, okay? I've spent a lot of time cleaning out the shotgun shells. It's been hit really hard. Although I went with my bud not that long ago, and he's still pulling out Wheaties from there. So, shout out to him. He knows what he's doing. I still get shotgun shells. But if you look below that, about halfway between that ball field and the water, if you imagine, you'll see a rectangular square with some lines in it. Do you guys see that? You see it? That's the tennis courts. The only thing left on the tennis court is one pole. So you know that people, if they were playing tennis, had to put their clothes and their stuff around that tennis court. So yeah, that would be another place to go. And then there's a path that ran from the tennis court to the ball field. So you know that path had to be traveled. So that would be really, really kind of going as well. Now, if you look down below near the water, I'll start up at the top left about 11 o'clock. You'll see 4 structures. Those are buildings. Those are the like the barracks or the cabins where the kids stay. There were no foundations here. You're not going to find foundations. They were wooden platforms. You'll see cement slabs because they were using cement at the time, and you'll see the remnants of stairs that were made of cement. And it's kind of weird because you walk through this place and you have to imagine that these stairs, there was a building there before. And where those stairs are, above that, you can see like a white line. That's the road. So they used to actually drive into here. Now it's no more than a walking path. It's maybe 4 feet across at best. But in front of that is the field. And that's where they used to just fool around. Today, and I'll show you in a second what that looks like today. It's not that same spot. So now you know people played. These kids played in that field. That's another site to go. So like if you're analyzing, like I would say aerial archaeology, we just pegged, several sites here, plus the buildings. Now it's going to be harder for you to see, but just below those 4 buildings, and you'll see the hint of it, you'll see a long, thin rectangle. It's really kind of hard to see. I wish the mouse was working so I could show you, but there's a long rectangle. In the middle is like a hump. That hump is actually the fireplace. The rectangle is 1/2 of the recreation center. This is where the kids went into theater and dance. This whole camp premise, this private camp, was he wanted to do other things, life-building skills with these kids. And they did a lot of arts and crafts stuff, and theater was done. That was the theater. And in front of that was another beach. You can see the remnants of a beach, and there's a direct connection to that. So this one map just gave you like enough detecting sites for a while. But I'm not the first one to see this, and you're not the first people to figure this out or see this as well. So, but they never get it all. It's still going to be stuff there. But if you get an aerial image like this is how I'm telling you, dissect it. When I do this, actually, I use a magnifying glass with me because it helps you, like to enhance it. Because when you get to a certain point, you can't enlarge it anymore. So a magnifying glass actually does help to picture some of these things. And then I also walk it. All right, I also walk it. Next slide. Oh, the other thing, someone said how many ball fields there were. That's a good point. One of the things that on this, the backstop wasn't metal; it was wood. And I had been talking to somebody that was hiking in there one day when I was there. And I said, "Do you know where the ball field?" I figured to ask the guy, this is his neighborhood, and ask him, "Where's the ball field?" He said, "There's a ball field here." I said, "Yeah, yeah." In the old maps, it shows there's a ball field. He says, "I hike this all the time. I never saw a ball field." So, I knew, like, if I found a tennis court and there's that one, it was tar. The tennis court was tar, or like a hard pack. I knew if I found that, I'd be really close to the ball field. Well, I can't tell you how happy I was because I was walking away from the tennis court, and then I saw the wooden backstop, what was left of it. It's just like shreds of wood, but it was still in the shape of a backstop. So then I knew exactly where that was. Now, there's another story that goes with that I should share. That ball field was also very special because that was a special place for the little kids. The little kids, to get their bravery badge, they had to go out at night by themselves, and they had to find second base. And there was a prize at second base, and that was their bravery badge. It was a button, and the button had an M on it for Moeen. And if they were able to make it to second base that night, and they found this little package, it was the button that they earned their bravery badge. So this is a prized possession by these people. So that's a very collectible thing, put it that way. All right, this is what it looks like today. Amazing, huh? Crazy how the forest, new growth has just come up. This closed in the 1960s, so this is from 60 to today. I don't know when this aerial was done, but you don't see much of anything, really much of anything at all. So I think there's another picture. One more? Yeah. This is what's available in the State Park Guide. And I have two comments about this. This is great because it gives you like an overview, and it's a pretty good illustration. It gives you the trails as they're marked, and it gives you a starting point. It doesn't highlight anything else. It doesn't highlight the foundations. It doesn't highlight the baseball field. It doesn't give you any kind of those guides. And there are some maps. Sometimes you'll see on the key, the map will say historic site, and you get like all excited. You get one of these state maps, and you're going, gotcha, treasure map. Don't rely on those, okay? Don't believe them because a lot of times they're inaccurate. The location is inaccurate. Case in point, I found this place again, one of these maps across the river, and we went there. I brought a whole group with me, and I said, "This is looking really good, guys, because it's got all the things that we want, all the elements." And we got there, and we followed that map, and there was nothing there. It was like, "Are you serious? There's nothing here." So we walked, and we did the other loop, and there it was. So whoever drew the map and I didn't think they did it on purpose. It was probably like a typo, but that's not where it was.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. The only other thing I have to mention about this, and this is just, I'm going to tell you, I've done this place a few times. Most recently, I did it with LiDAR, all right, the LiDAR technology, the infrared technology. And Joe was there because Joe came. And we found a cellar hole. So this wasn't only a boys' camp. This is for 400 plus acres. It's woods. It's colonial. There's colonial wagon roads that go through here. I had found one cellar hole just by walking the road one day. It had been hit super hard. It was almost a pristine cellar hole, though. It was so perfectly laid out. But it's right on the main trail. And I'm going to be frank with you. I'm going to be honest. I'll give you another tip. If you find a cellar hole and it's on a main trail, chances are it's not virgin. Chances are everybody and their brothers walk by there and said, "Oh, that's a cellar hole. Let's hit it." So it's been hit pretty hard. Again, doesn't mean they got everything. There still could be stuff there, and I'm not going to discourage you from doing it. But again, my whole premise of this whole presentation is talking about time. And if you're going to spend time on that, you're kind of like spending a lot of time with people who already spent time, so your chances are not as good. So when I did the LiDAR on this, I found out there's 3 other cellar holes, but they're deep in the woods. They're not on the trail. They're nowhere near the trail. And in fact, to get to them, you got to go through like a brush, and some of it's swamp. But in the day, those were the holes. And Joe was there. I was waiting for one of my friends in the parking lot. Story is, Joe and a couple of other buddies, they went out over there and they started detecting. Right? So 20 minutes later, I give them a call and I said, how you doing? And I thought, what was the first thing you said to me, Joe?
Got a button.
So I'm freaking out in the parking lot because I'm waiting for my buddy who was like late, and these guys are finding buttons, and I'm like, oh God. So then I call him. Are you serious? I thought they were just busting me, right? And they were busting my chops. So I call over. I talk to my other friend. He says, oh yeah, I got a coin, but I can't identify it yet. Holy shit! Are you serious? I'm standing in the parking lot waiting for my friend. So my friend gets there, and we grab our kitty guy. I said, these guys are finding stuff. This is probably a virgin place. We got to go. So we run down. I'm walking in. My friend, who was late, first walk in, button. Gets a button, like right on the first hit. All right. Thank you very much. He keeps walking. He gets another button. And I'm over here detecting. I'm getting nails and all this crap, and I'm not getting anything. I finally got a pocket knife, which is really cool because I never found a really old one. But I didn't get any buttons that day. So I bust these guys up. They found all the buttons. And I always say to guys, you go with me or girls, you go with me, just leave me a button. That's all I want. Just leave me a button and I'll be happy.
You're easy.
Easy. All right. All of you, this is probably your favorite time of year. When they start harrowing the fields and deep plows, definitely a time to hunt. But my point about this is that looks very attractive, and I would be attracted to this. And I don't know her name. She's a very famous YouTuber, and she made a YouTube about fields, and she said, I hate fields. But she didn't really hate them. She just doesn't like having to walk the fields all over the place and not find stuff because you walk hundreds of acres. So like I said, if you can analyze this field, then you might be able to find and read the field what was there. Mm-hmm. And there's some really good stuff about researching fields. And you can tell. I'm a real novice at this, but I can tell you can tell what was in that field. You can tell if it was plowed field, if it was a pasture field. You can tell by the stone walls that surround it, what kind of use it was. So there's a lot of stuff you can glean. But what I actually learned from one of my friends, and I this was, even though he found all my buttons, he taught me this, is how to read the field. So all these sites I'm talking about to you, I always, as a habit, I like photography too. So I go in the woods and I bring my camera and I want to photograph and document them. The photographs also give me a GPS coordinate on the site, so I have that afterwards. But when you walk your sites is what I'm saying. That's my tip. Walk your sites, but then look in the field and look for shreds of evidence. Like look for pottery, look for broken glass. Those didn't materialize there. They had to come. Now, this isn't the canned slaughter and all the garbage that people thrown over the years. This is stuff that was probably being driven up from the ground because there was something there. It could have been a dump site for the house, but it giving you evidence that someone lived there. And if you're going to spend your hours in the field, you want to spend them in an area that you're going to be more productive, is my point. LiDAR can help. Some of these research things can help. Aerial photographs can help narrow it down. And I just did this for Nancy. She was doing a 600-acre field. And I said, Nancy, did you hit this area? And she didn't know that there was a barn in one of those areas. You wouldn't have known because it was just the remnants of it in the ground by the discoloration. And a lot of times you don't even need LiDAR to find those. Those are stellar holes that have rocks in the foundation. If it was made out of wood, the wood rotted and it changes the color of the soil, or the crops don't grow the same way. So if you look at an aerial photograph, you can tell if there was a foundation there or a building because the wood, as it rotted, left an imprint and the crops didn't grow as well. What happens is over years of plowing, those perfect squares get distorted, so they might look more oval shaped or round shaped. But when you see a discoloration in the earth or the soil, definitely that's a site to head to. Or if it's a site at the top of a hill, they like to be up higher. If it was raining, you'd stay away from, like the floods and stuff. You'd be up higher. There's going to be a creek nearby. There had to be water source. There's going to be a well or a creek. So you look at all those things when you're trying to assess it. Those are my tips. Next slide. We're almost at the end. I'm not going to spend time on it. You guys know this. Get permissions. I won't purposely search a site for you if you haven't gotten a permission. If you want my help or you want my research, it's got to be a legitimate site. Don't give me a battlefield, like a historic battlefield, because I don't want you to get arrested, and I don't want to be accused of giving you like sites that are not legal to do. So I assume no responsibility. This is my disclaimer. I assume no responsibility if you do illegal stuff. I'm asking you to be honest with me, and I'll be honest with you. If you give me a site to look up for you and I research it, you pay me for that. All right, great, all's good. If I find you something, okay, I better for you. If I don't find you anything, still, I'll give you your money back because I'm not trying to take your money if I can't provide you with something. All right, so that's where it comes back. Next slide. These signs are popping up all over the places because people are messing around and not doing what they should be doing. And we have to be like the plug police a little bit and watch people. I saw this guy the other day with a shovel. I'm talking about this major shovel on his shoulder, walking through a schoolyard. Like they see you in a schoolyard with a shovel like that, they're going to say, "What are you doing over here? You're digging it up." We had to fight recently in our town because they got upset that the soccer field, someone was pulling their metal plugs. Well, it wasn't Detector people, I don't think. We wouldn't be that stupid to take out the plugs. But we worked out a thing with the town. One of our guys was really creative. He came up with a way to mark those plugs, to leave these plugs alone. Like this is what they use to put their lines. We don't want to mess with that. But we don't hit pristine fields unless we're going to dig them properly. But there are people that break the rules, and this is what's happening. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. But if you see people doing the wrong thing, they deserve to get caught. Like this guy, he was in a battlefield. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You can't go on a battlefield. I mean, you got to respect that. And he got caught. I blanked out the eyes in case someone knew him or he looks familiar. But, he got arrested. That's not cool. Next slide.
I actually know who it is.
Yeah. Just add a little humor. That's why I blanked out the eyes. This is just a little humor. A lot of you have seen it because they make fun of this guy. I blanked out his eyes, too, in case you know him. Man digs. And I have a feeling this is a true story. I can't verify the story.
I think that's Chris from the ground up, actually.
The man digs a 12-foot hole without realizing his metal detector was picking up his steel-toed cap safety boots. I can tell you a true story. In my pirate hunt, one of the guys in the pirate hunt was having a hell of a time. Everyone was finding tokens, and I put a bunch of foreign coins. Everyone was finding stuff. And he kept on getting like these false signals. And he finally realized he forgot that he wore steel-booted toes that day. So he had to take his shoes off in order to detect. But it was just like a mistake.
It could be a new hobby, barefoot detecting. Oops, sorry.
There you go. No worries. The cutting plugs, you guys know how to cut plugs, but there's a proper way to do it. And again, you want to leave it so that my whole premise is leave no trace. You do not want people to know that you were there because it disfaces the property. It gives a bad, you kill the grass, it's going to form like a dead piece of grass. They're not going to let you back. And then some people, they think the forest is different. Like, oh, okay, the forest, who's going to be on the forest? You got to treat the forest the same way. It appalls us. And when my guys go out, and we're pretty conscious of this, if we find holes, we know someone's been detecting, obviously. They leave their trash. They leave the iron because they don't want to take the iron. They leave the trash. Yep. They leave the holes open. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah. And you can't do that, guys. If I think I'm guys, just, police it out there. Don't let people do stuff like that. And if they give you pushback, just tell them you're ruining it for everybody. You're really peer pressure. Hopefully will have some impact. But there's another reason too. That's to me the most important reason. But another reason, and a friend of mine said this to me, Wayne, I don't want anyone to know where my site was. So if I'm in the woods and I'm detecting, I am going to cover that site up so no one will know where I went. And my buddy, but this is funny because the other day I asked him, hey, have you been out detecting? Because I know he's like hardcore, right? Hardcore. And he said, no, there's snow on the ground. He said, I don't detect in the snow. I said, oh, yeah, well, you can. And he says, yeah, but they could follow my footprints. And he says, I don't want anyone following my footprints. So it's like, this is the thing. I never thought about the footprints. I don't care if someone follows me. But he won't detect in the snow because of that. And it's also harder to leave that you weren't there because you got dirty snow. All right, next slide. All right, I'll just go kind of quickly on this because I talked about this before. But this is, I think you're getting to know me a little bit. Safety is first, okay? I was in the scouting and it was always the buddy system. It was always like safety first. That's always important. I know some of you prefer, I know for a fact, some of you don't like to hunt with other people. And that's cool. I mean, that's what you do. Like one with the woods. We call it like a lone wolf. But I totally understand because sometimes you want to go out and you just want a space and you want to enjoy it all by yourself. but just have safety in mind. Okay, tell somebody anywhere where you've been or where you're going. So if you don't show up, someone can be looking for you and putting a word out for you. And there's all kinds of phone apps that can track where you've been and where you are and locate you and all that. But I've detected places where there's no phone reception. So when I'm out in that kind of a place, then I want to have a buddy with me. If I twist an ankle, I'm going to have a hell of a time getting back. All right. So just an idea. I prefer buddies, and I prefer being with somebody because I get excited. If you find something, I'm just excited as if I find something. And I think the guys and gals that I hunt with, they feel the same way. They're not about just the finds; it's about being with them. Next slide.
Yep.
So this is my intro. To me, what's more important than the treasures, finds, and the excitement of detecting is the memories and friendships we can establish along these paths. These are priceless to me. Priceless to me. I'm not a YouTuber, and I don't do videos. And the only thing I do is like photographs, and I try to take pictures of our hunts. And I forget sometimes, but I like having pictures of the hunt afterwards. This one is a tailgate of some of our team with some of our crew. These are the regular guys, but this happened to be at a Boy Scout camp because I was looking at abandoned Boy Scout camps, and I happened to find this one, and it was out in the boonies. And I said, guys, we got to go check this out because it's pretty far away from everything, and it closed quite a few years ago, and it was like started in the 1900s, so it's got to have something. This is the first time, God's honest truth, I found a virgin Boy Scout camp. In other words, I'm sure no one had been there. We had so many finds that day in the field, the major field. You can see this is a tailgate. This is our show place. At the end of a hunt, one of my friends drops his tailgate, so he puts all all of us can put our finds and lay them out, and you name it, and that came in that day. We had a lot of weird stuff too. One guy got a copper bracelet that was really kind of weird. Another guy got a lot of silver came in. There's some Indians. There was a lot of wheats. There was a little mixture. I mean, nothing crazy great, but it was fun. Just the targets, digging at targets. We got a ton of tokens. That's the other thing I loved was these tokens that were really, really cool. And they must have played games. The scouts must have had token games because they found that. So it was really a great day with some friends. So it wasn't about valuable finds. It was about having this picture, and then you can see one of my friends in the background. He's doing this like that horn guy on my other friend. He's just he's fooling around. But we had a good time. The two guys on the right, and I'm giving names here. This is one time I am using a couple names because I think they deserve it, and they're not. And I told them already. I told them yesterday. They were hunting with me on a beach yesterday. It was a balmy 28 degrees on the beach. We were freezing our butts off, but we were having a great time together. And I have to mention this. We're on the beach, and we have a private permission on the beach. I was like so excited to do this. But private permissions on the beaches aren't always that great because there aren't that many people that go there. It's a private permission, so it's not public, so you don't find a lot. But also, no one's probably detected it before because the lady who gave it said no one's ever detected in front of my house before. So this is cool. So we're standing on the beach, freezing our butt off, and I look behind us, and what's flying? A pirate flag. The Jolly Roger's flying behind me. So I had a picture taken of all of us with the Jolly Roger behind us. So that's my pirate theme back at us. But these two guys are two of the most incredible men, detectorists I've ever met. And I hope you're out there listening because I want to shout you out. Frank, he's been detecting way before I was. And I feel like I'm a newbie compared to what Frank's done. Frank is an all-round detectorist. And what I mean is he does scuba, he does water, he does land. He's done it all. And he knows his machine better than anyone that I've ever known. Like he's one with his machine, put it that way. And he's got multiple machines. He's got his land machines and his water machines. Someone's going to ask, oh, what's his land machine? He uses an F-75 Fisher. He uses it so well, I almost bought one just because I can't imagine how he does so well. And then he has the Excalibur for his water hunting. But he is like incredible. Rich is another guy. He's like me. He collects a lot of different detectors. I have more detectors than I know what to do with. And he collects them too. But he also shares. And Rich is one of the quietest, most reserved people I've ever met. Kind and so forth. I can't give you enough shout outs, both of you. But I was having trouble with my simplex. I just got a simplex. And I was having trouble with it. And Rich is a very studious guy. He like researches things really thoroughly. And he didn't have to tell me this, but he told me how to get the settings right on the simplex so that I could be more productive on the beach. And again, karma came back. Rich killed it last year on the beach with his rings. And Rich is another all-around detectorist. He does the beach when he has to. He does the woods when he has to. He does everything. So shout out to you two guys. You've been my friends forever. Next slide.
Awesome.
This is the guy. I got to bust this guy up. I'm going to mention his name too, and many of you know him because he's a TV celebrity. He was actually Pirate Treasure. I guess it was something he was. I don't want to say it wrong, Andy. Captain Kidd's Treasure. You were involved in the hunt for that. You did some TV stuff on that. He was on TV. It's still out there. You can find it. I know he's out there. I'm not doing it justice, but he's been the president of the club as long as I know, which is an amazing feat. And again, well deserved. At my pirate hunt, he found the special token, so he was like Detectorist of the year. So he got that little special trophy that they had donated for that event. And then because he's been making fun of me as a pirate, I photoshopped him into Johnny Depp's pirate costume there. So Joe, that's Captain Andy, by the way.
Captain Andy.
Karma's a bitch, Andy. I got you back. Next slide.
That's awesome.
Two of the guys again. I've been referring to them as we go, but another two awesome detectorists. Seth, I've known for over 30 years. I've learned so much from this guy. Reading a field, this guy reads the field like no one else. He meticulously he hunts a field. Like if he hits a field, you know it's been hit right and hit hard. He grids and he regrids and he regrids, and he keeps going back and he keeps finding more stuff. You tell him it's hunting out, that's like a challenge. He's the one that got the 1865 2-cent pieces in the same hole in a park that everyone said was nothing was there. And he keeps going back and he's coming out with reals and coppers and everything. I just like being in his presence. The other thing is I've never seen someone as enthusiastic. Like I'm enthusiastic. I love this stuff, but this guy makes me look not enthusiastic. All right.
He's pretty enthusiastic.
You can find a nail and he will get like so happy for you that you found that nail. And people find nails, and it's just 2 cents about the nails. You find a nail, that's actually quite valuable. Why? Not monetary compensation, but it can help you date a site. There's entire books devoted, and I'll post something if anyone's interested, like how you can date a site based on the nails you find. So when we find nails, we don't just discard them and just it's a lowly nail. These were hand forged. Think about these. These are handmade, many of them. That's like crazy good. I mean, they're a nuisance. But you got to remove them and you can get the good stuff underneath. But nails are our friend. I think they're our friend. So anyway, the other thing about Seth is that I think he's like an arrow magnet. We can't detect him with it, but this guy's got such an eye in the ground when he's detecting that he comes up with the best arrowheads. And the first time I detected with him, we were actually looking for a former gun site, and we were finding mini balls like everywhere. They went everywhere. And Seth walks in with an arrowhead. How the hell did you get an arrowhead out of this site? Nobody knows. But like I said, wherever he walks, he finds them. Just crazy. Guy on the right, Dan. Shout out Dan. Dan's accomplishment speaks for himself. I haven't known Dan as long, but what I know about Dan, I really like. The guy is incredible. Really knows his detector. He's been the Metal Detectorist of the Year for our club year after year, and he actually got that honor in the first year with his first detector. And I think it was a very basic detector, and he's just very persistent. He's slow, he's meticulous, he's smart, and he was reading sites before it was like kind of an art to read sites. So I know both of them have appreciated what I've shown them because I've given them another aspect to it. But in retrospect, you give and you take. They both are now sharing with me as well. I taught them some of these techniques. I taught them how to read some of these maps, and they're using it well beyond me. And I get excited when they send me a text and they say, "Wait, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, man, you killed it on that site. Where is it?" And they'll tell me where it is. And oftentimes they'll often go with me too, which makes me feel good. I like that. So yeah, and Dan, I know some of you, the bone of my contention is like in the summer when the bugs start, we get those like no-see-ums at the beach. They drive you crazy. Or the mosquitoes, they're like crazy, like thick. I was in the woods one time. Oh my God, there was like so many mosquitoes like everywhere. Like you couldn't even detect. It wasn't fun. So Dan turned me on to these like little head nets. So I had to show this picture of him. You buy them in a 5-pack. I'm not trying to sell these things. You buy them in a 5-pack, but they're like the most useful thing I've ever had. I mean,
you're needed if you're in New England.
Oh my God, yeah. So if you guys don't have to deal with that, that's awesome. But Dan, I admire your skills. Next slide. Left to right.
Hey,
Me?
Hollywood.
Yeah, Joe Hollywood. Joe Hollywood and my newest friend, John. A couple words about John. And I'm embarrassed by this picture. I was like 50 pounds heavier. So I've lost like 50 pounds. I'm happy. I mean, shout out to me on that. But walking does help. That's a great exercise. But my newest friends, Hollywood Joe. I mean, he's a YouTube celebrity. He's in some books now. He showed me the picture of him holding the book. I was like, oh, wow, this is like way cool. And I owe Joe so much because one, he told Nancy about me that he was trying to help me, get my service out there, my business, which I think is unique or different out there to the crowds. And Nancy's the first person that would give me the shot to do that. So thank you, Nancy, for that. You're an amazing person. I just met you. I wish you lived closer so we could hunt together. I know we would be partners for sure. And I know you like to hunt alone, but I'd have your back. I know.
I hunt with people too. Trust me. It's fun when you have others.
Well, I think it's fun to share. John, I just want to mention too, because I don't know that he's out here. He's aware of it, but I didn't push it too much to ask him to support me on 10. And I know he's a busy guy. But we've started the detecting together more recently, and he lives in the other part of the state. And for us, it's not too far away. But he approached me, and after we met with Joe, he kind of introduced us all. And we had fun together. We got along together. We had common interest in obviously detecting and just nice people. And he had said, Wayne, I'm working with some archaeologists down in my neck of the woods, and we're doing a battle site. Would you be interested? I said, heck yeah, I'd be interested. You kidding? Do a battle site? That would be all over that. But I mean, it was already at the tail end of their research, so I never got to go down. But I did get to hear about it. I think Joe might have been part of it too. But they were finding the musket balls, and where they were falling could give you an idea of how the battle progressed. And the archaeologist is one of those, like I said, that's kind of bridged the gap with metal detecting and archaeology. And he supports metal detectorists, and he likes metal detectorists. And unbeknownst to John, I just read an article about another detectorist in Connecticut, another part of Connecticut, and he was on actually the front page of a newspaper because he became famous because he found a Native American site that was up until then unknown by some of the finds that he was making. And he brought them to the museum, and the museum was very intrigued by this. And the archaeologist that was working for the museum said, this is great stuff. And he started working with him. And then the archaeologists started hiring, actually paying some people, and other people volunteered. It was both, and to detect. And what they would do is they would flag the sites where they were finding stuff, and bag it, like little sandwich bags, bag the sites, bag the things, and then mark where they came from. Bring it to the archaeologists, and they would say whether they wanted to keep it and catalog it, or whether they could have it themselves. So some stuff they got to keep. Other stuff they would give it to the museum because they were more of the museum quality, what they were looking for. So I wrote this guy a nice letter, the archaeologist, saying, I read your article and that you're looking. I would be very interested and honored to work with you and offer my services at no charge. And I use some of these techniques that might help with locating things. And archaeologists are all over some of these products for sure. And he responded, and I was like amazed. He responded, and he said, "Yeah, we have some projects coming up this summer, and if you're interested, I'll keep you in the loop." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And I've been looking for volunteers from like my friends to help me because I take care of my friends. And one of the things is they're going to be looking for a team of detectorists. So I'm hoping that we can all do that.
Hey, Wayne.
It was kind of cool. Yeah.
We're going on hour 2, my friend, and we're starting to lose people. If we do this giveaway, we better get it done.
All right. Do it. Do it. I'm sorry. Just do it for sure. We just finished because this is like the last 2 slides.
Yeah, it's the last 2 slides.
All right. All right. So just shout out to We Dig Detecting, Joe, Ray, Andy. You guys are awesome. And they didn't pay me to say this, by the way, guys. This was because I believe this. He treated me well, and like I said, I pay back when people earn that. So yeah, I think they're great, and give them business. You won't be sorry. He's also the NOCTA, I believe, representative for the United States, isn't he, Joe? For like repairs.
Yes.
He's got.
So
he's really kind of cool. And obviously, I gotta end it with a family note.
This is the best shout out. I love this.
This is for my wife, Ann. I don't know that you're watching. I thank you. You're wonderful. I love you. Your patience in never giving me like a hesitation when I say I got to go out like crazy hours of the day, come back late at night. And I know we have a common thing. We like to do the beach. Believe it or not, this is at the end of my road. And people ask, like, you do relics in forest? And I say, yeah, but the beach, I won't ever give up a beach because it's like right there. But she likes sea glass hunting. So now while I'm detecting the beach, I'm always looking for sea glass for her. And it's nice walking on the beach. And we get these incredible sunsets. It's really, really great. So, yeah. So shout out, Ann. Thank you so much. And then I think
That's
that's the
awesome.
last. Is that the
It
last?
means a lot when they can support your hobby.
Yeah. So this is just a connection. Again, I guess this will be posted later. My email, I got into these QR codes. I think if you're out there, you can shine your phone on it. It'll give you like the email address. It'll pop up in your phone or the QR for the Facebook group. Check it out. Check out my group site. You don't have to join. I think you can see it just by just going. But if you join, to be appreciated. It's new. We're starting to grow. So that's it. I know I was going to talk too much, and I'm sorry. But
everyone has loved the knowledge that you have shared tonight.
Absolutely.
You have the passion. You have the knowledge. It's been absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I should have taken my wife's opinion and broke it up into two sessions, maybe, Nancy. So I apologize if I went over.
It's over.
These people have earned it. So give out the prizes. So,
all right. So what are we giving away right now?
Well, let's do the pirate bracelet. So I've been talking about that.
All right. So hold on a second. Let me just kind of show you what it looks like. So this is the pirate bracelet. You can kind of see the pirate cord and the pirate, and
kind of badass.
That's kind of cool, isn't it? All right, so I'm gonna try doing the StreamYard. Give it StreamYard. So I'm going to ask you for the next few seconds to put in hashtag GAW. So for giveaway. So if everyone can just type in the chat hashtag GAW for the next 30 seconds, and I'll collect your. This enters you into the contest. So hashtag GAW. If you would like to be entered into this contest. Doesn't matter if it's lowercase or capitals, but it has to be hashtag GAW. Do you need a drink?
I'm surprised I still have a voice.
I know. You're going to be calling out of work tomorrow. All right, everyone else, hashtag GAW, your last chance to get in on the giveaway. You just need to type it into the chat. So if you're lurking and you want to be part of this giveaway, type it in. Don't forget the hashtag, Charlie.
You know what a hashtag is, Charlie?
The pound sign. Pound sign GAW.
One other thing is I do Zoom normally, so this is all new for me. If any of you are out there in clubs, and I know with COVID it's hard to have live meetings, so I've been doing Zooms with the clubs. If any of you think your club would be interested in a presentation, let me know, and I'll do it for your club. All right, you can work out the details.
So hashtag. All right, we're gonna start it. Throw in anybody else. Don't forget the little pound sign hashtag.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everybody. I'm going to start pulling names. All right. Hashtag.
Remember how to do this?
I am going to learn how to do this. I've got to share it. Hey, I'm getting really good at this now. Come on. All right. So this is telling me I've got 26 entries out of 41 people here. All right, are you ready?
Somebody wants a bracelet. Better chance
of people. We got a lot of people still watching and lurking. You ready? Good luck, everybody. I know it should play music or something, but it doesn't.
Sing to us.
Winner is Mama Gone Detecting, Brenda. Brenda, congratulations.
Shout out, Brenda. So, Brenda, what I need you to do is to take a piece of...
Sorry. Just ignore that. I hit the button again.
My video locked up again, but can you hear me?
We can hear you, bud.
Yeah. You'll get the contact information, right, Nancy, and I'll mail it out. I'll actually mail it in a little pirate chest I have. So I have a little chest I'll put it in with a little keepsake for it.
That's cool.
So I'll send that out to you. But what I need you to do is to take a string and put it around your wrist, and then cut the string and measure how long the string is. So that way, when I'm just going to be custom made for you. I'll make it into your length, and I'll give like a little half an inch because it can shrink. But at least you'll have something, maybe a memory from today. I'll put in a little treasure box for you. All right, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool.
We got another giveaway now, right? Too.
What's that?
We got another giveaway now, right? Too.
Yeah, the other giveaway is if you're in Connecticut, 2 ways. If you're in Connecticut and you want me to help you find a site and take you to the site, I'll do that. If you're not in Connecticut and you win, I'll give you my research. What I normally would charge people, and what I normally charge is just like $15. All the information's on my group site. If I find you a site, then I'll let you know. If I don't find you a site, then I'll give you back your money. It's just PayPal, Venmo. So I'm just giving you the opportunity to have me do some research for you. And then along with that, if we can find some health cellar holes, or if you're in an area that has that, just depends on what research you want to do. But I will help you with your research is what I'm going to do. So I'm offering a free consultation.
That sounds cool.
That's awesome. All right. So I am going to pull this up. Once again, we're going to do hashtag GAW. Start putting that into the chat. Everyone can type that. So just do hashtag GAW again. And this should start calling them up. Hold on, I'm going to call this back up. I should close the window, and I shouldn't have closed the window. I should have just kept it up because then you could have just refreshed it. That's my fault. All right, giveaway tool.
You're back, Joe.
Yay, you made it back.
That was an awful space shot. It was an awful still shot. It captured me. And it was like, I got to make sure that I get stuck. That I got to do an advertisement for Simplex.
Yeah, we had figured out that if we pin something on the bottom of the screen, that freezes you up. So we're trying not to pin stuff too much.
I don't know why it froze up, but I'm glad when it's not frozen. I can tell you that. But so the same thing with this one. Whoever wins this, I just got to get your contact information. I have a form that you need to fill out. It's like the same thing I would do for a client. Fill out the form, and I'll just do it for you. See what we can find. And
all right, I am going to share this screen. This is not the winner. I know it has someone else's name on it because I hit the button by mistake. So I'm going to share this screen. It's not allowing me to share it. There we go. So we're going to draw again. That was me. I hit it. Sorry, Miss Emily. All right. So we're going to draw again for the research. Good luck, everybody. You can hit it really quickly, that button, by mistake.
Kept that. Oh,
no. It flashed over. Flashed with Ed. Ed is the winner.
I love these names people have. They're like wicked cool.
Wait till you meet
Ed.
Ed is a great guy.
Congrats. So do you want Ed to reach out to you directly?
Yeah, can you share my email address with them? Or
yes, I am going to do that right now.
And then I need to know his email address, so if I get it, I know it's not spam, it's real. And
all right, so
we'll hook up on a Zoom. Where is? Just curious, where is he from? Do you know?
Ed is in Ohio.
Okay, cool.
Right, Ed? Do I have that right? Ohio.
Congratulations, Ed.
I'm excited.
Congratulations.
You know what the thing is going to be with these two together? That could be like a 3-month adventure.
Oh, you're gonna love talking with Ed. Ed is another fascinating, knowledgeable man.
You guys will get together very well.
Yes, he is.
Cool. It looks like I might be doing a road trip.
He's a good guy.
You might be. You will. All right, I am going to drop in the chat one more time Wayne's Facebook page. You do need to join his page. So when you go over to the page, click that you like it. You will be accepted into the page. He's online tonight, and Joe's here tonight. So might not be till tomorrow or the next day. He's probably going to get inundated with a few.
Would be awesome. I will be posting.
Fine to him. Just message me or something. I'll get in touch with him for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Joe and I are pretty close there on the messenger. I will also be posting a lot of new stuff from tonight's talk, so that might be helping.
Uh-oh. Now we guest on his show. See how this all works?
Flash in your pan. He has a live stream. He has
So
several different live streams.
So it'll be perfect for you.
But he has a Tuesday night Hangout live, and he would love to have you on a guest. So, Ed, you have his email address. Give him all the details. You'll probably have him on the show, Ed, before me. Ed's been trying to get me on the show for almost 2 years now, and our calendar just keeps crashing.
Well, you got to go first, ladies first. So
no, it's fine. We're working on this. We'll get this down with Ed and I. Oh, I want to say thank you so much. This has been such an awesome show. I know we've gone overtime, and
thanks for hanging out.
Overtime is so worth it. There's so much knowledge that you have to share with us. It's absolutely fascinating. Seriously, everybody, please take a moment, check out his Facebook page, get in contact with him. His email address is there also. I will post it in the chat one more time for you to reach out to him personally if you want to reach out to him about a research or a site, his services. It's amazing what he finds. I cannot wait. I have one right here that he did for me on a field in one of my videos, and I cannot wait to get back to that site because I think all of us that were out, the crew was out detected, and I think we missed this whole area. There's over 200-300 acres at this place. And I think we need to go back and check this out.
Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be here. An honor. And I know collectively there's so much knowledge out there. And to be speaking with like-minded people with a passion for this is great. It was great. Joe, yes, like I said, I owe you, Joe. Thank you.
You don't owe me anything, my friend. We go out all the time.
All right, everybody. We are going to wrap this up. Wayne, please stay on when we end the stream. I just want to be able to speak with you and say our goodbyes and our thank yous again. So everybody, just to remember, tomorrow is Tuesday. We've got Digging with Deej. She has an amazing stream that you have to definitely check out. And I just had a little photo to come up and it's not coming up. She is doing a thing on Gettysburg. And is Gettysburg really haunted? Guest experience told. So you don't want to miss Digging with Deej tomorrow at 5:30 on YouTube. After that, you want to swing on over to Jersey History Hunter at 7 o'clock. They are doing their Valentine's special with an amazing giveaway. Love tokens. Gotta love that. It's going to be, I want to enter. Definitely want to be entered into that. And then right after Jersey History Hunters at 8 o'clock is Flash in Your Pan Ed, who is one of our winners tonight. So we've got a busy night tomorrow night. I hope you take a chance and get over there. But for tonight, I just want to say, and Joe too, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Wayne. And I hope everybody has a fabulous week. Just remember, next Monday is Metal Detector Nation. So I'll see you over in Metal Detector Nation next Monday.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Congratulations to the winners.
Coils to the soil. Happy hunting.
That's right. Let's have early spring. Good night.